Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Urban Pirate World. I become Kaido at the beginning. Chapter 61. The next morning, Zhang Chen came to school early. At this stage, Zhang Chen is the overlord in school. Asking for leave, skipping classes, even the teacher dare not control him. At this time, Zhang Chen was plotting with Ji Yu Qingying, Cheng Dongqing and other core members of the student union. Brother, after our investigation for several days, this Housei has been lingering in the club every day since you taught him a lesson. The brothers who followed us envy him. He is always accompanied by bodyguards when he travels. It seems difficult to attack him. Cheng Dongqing rubbed his hands and reported to Zhang Chen. Well, since there is no opportunity, there is no need to stare at him. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. What about the other people in the Hao family? Zhang Chen casually patted a broad bean and it fell into his mouth. Ji Yu Qingying adjusted her glasses and spoke in a clear voice like an oriole. President, according to the information revealed by the son-in-law of the second uncle of a student union student in the supervision department at the wine table. Due to the recent tense situation on the front line of the monster riot, Hao Niubi, director of the Minghua District Supervision Office, was ordered to lead his subordinates to support the front line in the near future. Ji Yu Qingying told the information she had obtained in the past few days. Very good, isn't this opportunity here? Zhang Chen raised his eyebrows. Xiao Cheng, I'm not saying anything bad about you, learn more from Qingying, and you will be more efficient. Cheng Dongqing's face suddenly fell, and Zhang Chen changed the subject again. You have all been my trusted partners since I led the student union and dominated Qingcheng No. 1 middle school. What I am going to do now may be quite risky for you. You are free to stay or leave. I will not let you down if you are willing to follow me, Zhang Chen, and I will not force you if you are unwilling. We will still be brothers when we meet again in the future. Big Brother. President. That's not right. Big Brother is a man of great talent and unparalleled talent. He will definitely be the overlord in the future. If I follow Big Brother, I will be hungry for 3 days. Ah, what I mean is that if I follow Big Brother, you will definitely have a good time. Cheng Dongqing was talking nonsense again. President, we are brothers in our hearts. It is our honor to follow the president's footsteps. Hearing this, everyone present expressed their loyalty and vowed to advance and retreat with Zhang Chen. Okay, Cheng Dongqing's nonsense was automatically omitted. Zhang Chen looked at his subordinates, Ji Yu Qingying, Liu Xiaobu, Zhang Wei, Ren Qingxing and others, and was very pleased. He finally had his own team in this world. The Hao family, I want to get rid of them as soon as possible. Since Hao Niubi is going to lead the team to support the front line, he deserves to be buried in the wilderness. Zhang Wei, I need your imitation fruit to show its ability and appear in the public eye on my behalf. During this period, you must respect Zhang Wei as much as you respect me. Understand? Everyone was stunned, and then suddenly realized that the president was going to sneak out of the city and kill Hao Niubi alone. Got the order, everyone echoed. Zhang Chen clenched his fist with one hand, and his expression was obscure. Just as he was thinking, a ding-ling-ling phone rang. As an assistant, Ji Yu Qingying naturally picked up the phone, and after a long time, she hung up. President, Mr. Zhang from the school's guard room called and said that the people from the Qingcheng Army Division are coming to see you under the leadership of the school leaders. It seems that they are here to commend you. Ji Yu Qingying said uncertainly. I know, you can leave first. Zhang Chen waved his hand. Grandpa Situ, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you? Duan Wei held the arm of Situ Liancheng, the principal of No. 1 middle school, and asked with concern. Liu Cheng and others were beside him. I'm old. Haha, Xiaowei, is what you said before true? Zhang Chen single-handedly solved the misted bronze-level monster. Although I can't believe it, it's the fact. I came here today to commend him and try to recruit him into the army. Although Situ Liancheng is old, he is still strong and upright, with a clean-shaven beard, neatly combed silver-white hair, and a straight and well-fitting suit. As for Zhang Chen, it's not easy to recruit him. You've been rejected once. A genius like him has a strong character that can't be changed by just a few words. Liu Cheng, who had a bandage on his chest, said at this time, after reporting this matter yesterday, the branch held a meeting overnight and unanimously agreed that Zhang Chen's strength has reached the ranks of the top powerhouses in Qingcheng and decided to invite him according to the highest talent recruitment conditions. After saying this, Lu Chang couldn't help but show envy. The army has a special talent introduction plan. For real geniuses, once they join the army, they will be directly awarded the highest rank of captain. Directly skip the ranks of private, corporal, second lieutenant, and lieutenant, which are difficult for many people to achieve. Road. You know, Lu Chang has been fighting for half his life, but he is only a captain. Even Duan Tianya is only a major, one level higher than the captain. In other words, as long as Zhang Chen is willing to join the army, he will directly become a captain officer on par with Lu Chang. With his powerful strength that surpasses everyone else, he will be a strong competitor for the strongest person in the Qingcheng army branch under Duan Tianya. That being said, it is quite tempting. But Zhang Chen's strength is worthy of this honor. As the military pushed open Zhang Chen's president's office, the real Azure Dragon, who has been circulating many legends, finally appeared in front of the public. After a few words of greeting with everyone, Lu Chang stepped forward and spoke. Comrade Zhang Chen, first of all, thank you for fighting against the demons and protecting the people of Qingcheng yesterday. This is the 1 million Bailey bonus given by our military, and this special medal of heroism is made of pure gold. Reaching out to take the check and the pure gold medal, Zhang Chen smiled and said, Captain Lu is really dedicated to his duties. He was injured in the battle at night and came out to work during the day. Feeling Zhang Chen's teasing, Lu Chang smiled and waved his hands. No way, this man can't sit still. Then the two chatted. Duan Wei, who was standing aside, couldn't help coughing when she saw the two people chatting more and more heatedly. Ahem, Zhang Chen, this time, in addition to giving rewards, there are two other important things. Zhang Chen stopped when he heard it. Oh, Miss Duan, do you have anything else to do? That's right, Zhang Chen, on behalf of the military, I now formally invite you to join our army. I seem to have said my opinion last night. Zhang Chen smiled faintly, but this time Duan Wei smiled with an extremely confident smile and spoke again. That's right, you refused last night, but this time we have the best offer for you. As long as you join the army, you will be directly awarded the rank of captain. You should know that my father, our minister Duan, is only a major, one rank higher than this captain. And your promotion in the future will be very fast. The military will spare no effort to train you. As long as you can show your value, you may even be qualified as a candidate for general in the future. Duan Wei believes that this condition is already very tempting, even she is tempted. Zhang Chen, I don't believe you are not tempted. I refuse. Zhang Chen's cold voice sounded again. Duan Wei and everyone else looked incredulous. Why, I have said it before, a real man lives between heaven and earth, how can he be depressed and live under others for a long time? I am used to being casual and can't stand being restrained. But, Duan Wei's face turned pale, and she wanted to keep him. God knows she was full of confidence when she came. Lu Chang stepped forward silently, pulled Duan Wei's sleeve and shook his head at her. Recruiting talents is a matter of mutual consent. In this case, Brother Zhang, I won't force you, but our army's promise to you will always be valid. No need to do so. I have great respect for your contribution to the people. Zhang Chen said with a full smile. Hearing Zhang Chen's refusal and showing such a perfunctory and hypocritical smile, a muscular young man with wheat-colored skin who was well trained in Lu Chang's group couldn't help but stepped forward with indignation and said. I thought Qinglong Zhang Chen, the first prodigy in Qingcheng, was so graceful, but now I see that he is just like this, a person who is arrogant and looks down on others. Wang Hu, stop it. Lu Chang scolded. Am I wrong? He is just a person who does not live up to his reputation. The young man named Wang Hu is the most outstanding young talent of the Qingcheng branch military in recent years. He has been in the army for several years, fighting against powerful enemies, and has suffered so much to get the rank of lieutenant. However, Zhang Chen can be directly promoted to captain with just a nod. He actually chose to refuse. The honor that he cherished was thrown away in front of him. This made Zhang Chen, who has always been arrogant and resentful of Zhang Chen, a genius who has made no achievements on the battlefield, feel that he was not as talented as he was. It was just that his strong discipline made him endure it before. So what if he was a genius? I, Wang Hu, don't believe in the word fate. Zhang Chen, I want to challenge you. Zhang Chen sneered, not knowing where this person got the courage from. Facing Wang Hu's provocation, Zhang Chen didn't care. Some things can't be taken lightly. Then he glanced at Cheng Dongqing, who had retreated to the side before. Cheng Dongqing understood, and immediately straightened his chest, with an expression that everyone present was trash, and squinted at Wang Hu. How dare you challenge my president? What is your strength? Don't you have any idea? Do you really don't know, or are you pretending not to know? There are many videos on the internet. What is the strength and level of our president? What can you use to fight our president? You are in your 20s, and you have the nerve to challenge our young and handsome 18-year-old president. Wang Hu's face turned red. He was originally dull and not good at speaking, and he scratched his ears and cheeks anxiously. Zhang Chen was leisurely flipping through the magazine. When Cheng Dongqing finished speaking, he said leisurely, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm a subordinate who is always too reckless and has a bit of an aggressive tone. Please forgive me if I'm offended. By the way, Captain Liu, didn't you say there were 2 more things? What is the other one? No, it was our people who started the trouble first. If it's offensive, it's our fault. As for the next thing, yes, I'll give you the Qingwu order. Liu Cheng took out a brocade box and took out a silver token from it. There was a big, Wu, character engraved on the front, and a map on the back. Zhang Chen looked at it carefully and found that it was a miniature version of Qingcheng. Qingwu order. Zhang Chen was a little confused. That's right, it's the Qingwu order. Its full name should be the Qingcheng High Martial Order. It is specially given to powerful warriors who are registered in Qingcheng and have upper middle level combat power. Brother Zhang, you don't know that for every strong man, the monster defense line and the misty Great Wall are a mountain pressing on their hearts. It is a mission that every strong man needs to bear, and it is a huge responsibility. The power to decide the life and death of a city facing monsters and evils is in the hands of warriors like us who have upper middle level combat power, at least in Qingcheng. And the Qingwu order is a symbol of status. Although Brother Zhang is only at the black iron level, according to the understanding of the senior officials of the Qingcheng Army branch, your strength has long reached the level of masters comparable to bronze and even able to fight against silver. Sitting on the strongest animal fruit, possessing all 6 styles, and even mastering the legendary domineering, it is really unreasonable not to give you this token, so today, taking the opportunity of commendation, it is also convenient to bring the token to you directly. Liu Cheng explained patiently. Oh, only the registered strong men have the Qingwu order, what does that mean? Zhang Chen played with the heavy white token in his hand, as if he was holding a heavy responsibility. Haha, rights naturally come with obligations. Strong men who refuse to register are naturally those who do not want to contribute their own strength to this city, just like the outer city travelers who come to Qingcheng. Even if they are powerful, Qingcheng has no right to ask them to help Qingcheng resist the invasion. Having the Qingcheng order means having a superior status in Qingcheng. Not only will you have a fixed Bailey subsidy every month, but you and your family will have priority-free medical care, housing provident fund subsidies, priority in choosing schools for your children, and even extra points in the college entrance examination, and other privileges. These are just icing on the cake for the strong. There are 2 truly powerful privileges of the Qingwu order. Quote. Liu Cheng paused, and his mouth was a little dry. A soldier with a keen eye immediately handed him a bottle of mineral water. After drinking a few sips, Liu Cheng continued. The first privilege is that if you use violence to cause death within the urban area of Qingcheng, the supervisory department has no right to arrest you. As long as the reason is justified, it is almost equivalent to innocence. Of course, it is best not to kill people in the city. Outside the city is the real illegal area. The second privilege is the privilege of having the legal right to form private armed forces. You can form your own private force within Qingcheng. Now, all the truly powerful forces in Qingcheng are formed by strong people who have the Qingwu order. This is a world of difference from the school student organization or the so-called small groups and gangs of hooligans in society. This is the privilege of the strong who have the Qingwu order. The strong must also fulfill their obligations while enjoying their rights. The core obligation is to unconditionally defend the safety of Qingcheng when Qingcheng encounters a life and death crisis. Of course, this core is a bit too vague. The daily obligation is to reasonably respond to the official call of Qingcheng to fight against monsters and fog invasions and defend the front line. Of course, you can choose to refuse the call, but you must have 6 records of responding to the call within a year, otherwise, all the privileges you enjoy will be withdrawn. So, Brother Zhang Chen, are you willing to register and accept this Qingwu order? Quote. Lu Cheng looked at Zhang Chen seriously. Nonsense, this is simply a surprise from heaven. Realize a great transformation of class and completely transform strength into the power of capital. Possessing the Qingwu order means that he is no longer threatened by the power of the Hao family and the Blood Wolf group. The order doesn't matter. It is our duty to sacrifice our lives for Qingcheng. Zhang Chen said with a sense of justice. Ah, Duan Wei secretly spit. You still have to be the president. This shameless spirit is a role model for us. Cheng Dongqing's eyes were shining with admiration. Zhang Chen quickly completed a series of procedures such as registration under Lu Cheng's arrangement. Thus, Qingcheng has added another high-end combat force. The old principal Satu Liancheng was also grinning from ear to ear at this time. From now on, the school's reputation can be further improved. The teachers around him also congratulated Zhang Chen. After politely praising each other, everyone said goodbye and left. On the way back, Wang Hu was still full of resentment. Lu Cheng patted his shoulder and comforted him. Okay, kid, I really want to learn a few tricks from others. Go back and practice hard. I heard that the best of this school trial will have the opportunity to get a place in the special training camp organized by our military. At that time, the geniuses from the outer city will come. At that time, you can challenge whoever you want. Really, Wang Hu was happy. Of course, I eavesdropped from Minister Duan's office. Lu Cheng said with certainty, I just don't know if you can stand it. I'll contact Zhang Chen secretly later. Just in case Wang Hu is really stubborn, let Zhang Chen be gentle, just beat him half to death. After dealing with everyone, Zhang Chen played with the token. Good stuff, it's time for me to create my own real power. Whether it's the student union or the Liuhe gang that I seized by trickery, they are still a little bit short. The former is just a student self-governing organization under the school framework. Once graduated, it will naturally disappear, and the latter, an underground gang, can't be on the stage. Zhang Chen doesn't look down on it, but those legitimate industries are still in his eyes. It's better to integrate them himself and start over. This person is so lucky that he can get whatever he wants. Dongqing, Qingying, and others, come here. Cheng Dongqing and others came over immediately after hearing Zhang Chen's order. I forgot to tell you that I recently defeated an underground organization called Liuhe Gang. You guys can go and take stock of their industries someday. There seem to be quite a few bars and entertainment centers. You can supervise them. Those industries will be ours in the future. Liuhe Gang. I seem to have heard of it. It is a small gang nearby. It is notorious and does all kinds of evil. It is very rampant. It seems to have 1,000 connections with the underground dark forces. After occupying Liuhe Gang and having ties with them, will it cause violent conflicts? Ji Yu Qingying asked with some concern. It doesn't matter. Your goal is to cooperate with Liuhe Gang to transfer the open industries to my command. As for the members of Liuhe Gang, you don't have to worry about their lives. Zhang Chen said indifferently while playing with the token. Oh, by the way, the new leader of Liuhe Gang is quite interesting. If you can help him, help him. After hearing Zhang Chen's instructions, everyone felt confident. Zhang Chen was just sighing about his good luck when the cell phone in his pocket started to ding. Two tigers, run fast, the ringtone that made people die echoed in the room. Everyone was serious and kept silent. Haha, naughty, it must be my naughty sister who secretly changed my cell phone ringtone. Zhang Chen answered the phone awkwardly, and his sister's crying voice came from the phone. Brother, come to the hospital quickly, Dad is injured and hospitalized. What? Qingcheng, Sacred Heart Hospital. The faint smell of disinfectant filled the ward. People came and went in the corridor, and nurses and doctors in white clothes worked in an orderly manner. Pushing open the ward, the sister was peeling an apple for her father Zhang Yuansheng. Seeing Zhang Chen coming, Zhang Xiaoxiao immediately rushed over. What's the matter? What's wrong with Dad? Zhang Chen stroked his sister's head and came to Zhang Yuansheng's bed. It's nothing, I just sprained my ankle while working. The doctor said I need to rest for a while. Turning over the medical records on the table beside him, the diagnosis said that the patient sprained his ankle and needed to rest. Zhang Chen's heart was relieved. Fortunately, it's not a big problem. Dad, take good care of your rest. That shift is hard and tiring, just don't go to work. Zhang Chen knew that his father worked in an ore processing factory, and it goes without saying that his father worked hard. What are you talking about? If I don't work, what should I do? I rely on you to support me. Oh, you have grown up, and now you dare to look down on my job, right? If it wasn't for my job that raised you up, you. Yes, I'm wrong, don't say it anymore. Seeing Zhang Yuansheng start preaching, Zhang Chen quickly interrupted the spell. There were quite a few people in the ward. If he continued talking, he would really die. While chatting with his father, a middle-aged woman dressed as a nurse walked up to Zhang Yuansheng with an indifferent look on her face. Patient number 0216, right. Hurry up and get up and make room. Your bed has been moved to the corridor. Quote. The hospital has always had a shortage of beds. The ward where Yang's father is a 4-person room. It is quite spacious and backed by the sun. Why do you want to change? I think this place is good. Besides, I paid for the ward. How can you let me live in the corridor? Yang's father asked the nurse in confusion. The nurse looked impatient and said, this bed has been reserved by a nobleman for a long time, but he didn't come. I let you stay there temporarily. Now it's not okay. You naturally have to move to the corridor. Hurry up and stop talking nonsense. Hey, nurse, that's not right. When I first came, the doctor said that this bed was empty. How come you said it was reserved? Are you annoying, patient? I am notifying you now, not asking for your opinion. You probably heard the doctor's slip of the tongue. Hurry up and move me. I will make the bed later. Quote. The fat middle-aged nurse was about to leave after saying this. What a joke. Such a good bed should naturally be given to those who need it more. They have collected money, so they should naturally arrange a better position for their dear patients. Looking at Zhang Yuansheng's dress, which looked poor, the nurse curled her lips with disdain. But she saw a hand firmly blocking her. Zhang Chen said expressionlessly, I have heard of appointments in queues, but this is the first time I have heard of appointments for beds. How come your old lady, the patient you are talking about, knew that he was going to die, right? You. The middle-aged nurse was furious when someone called her an old lady and was about to curse, but she met Zhang Chen's eyes and suddenly felt a chill unconsciously. You, what do you want to do? I tell you, if you dare to hit someone, I will call the security guard. The middle-aged nurse glared at Zhang Chen fiercely. HMPH, hit you. Dirty my hands. Go arrange a single room for my dad. What a joke, who do you think you are? Your family is so poor, and you still want to live in a VIP ward. It's so funny. The middle-aged nurse laughed so hard that she was out of breath. Zhang Chen took out the silver Qingwu order. Is this enough for you? The middle-aged nurse was stunned, and carefully observed the white token with a serious look. Hiss, it's made of silver, why do you want to bribe me? It's too late, someone offered a higher price than you, and your token is worth some money. It's not impossible to arrange a backlit ward for you, but there will be less sunlight. It's like playing the lute to a cow. Zhang Chen slapped his head. That's right, just an ordinary citizen, how many people can see Gaowu order? Seeing Zhang Chen didn't say anything, the middle-aged nurse curled her lips. Why are you pretending to be so powerful? Zhang Yuansheng also struggled to get up. Son, forget it, let's move. Zhang Chen pressed his hand to stop Yang's father from getting up. Alas, I wanted to solve this matter in a civilized way. After saying that, he picked up the middle-aged nurse with one hand and threw her out of the ward like a chick. Get out of here, today, I'm going to reserve this position. Hey, what are you doing? Ouch hey. The middle-aged nurse was thrown to the ground fiercely, and she screamed in pain immediately. She sat on the ground and began to wail, help. Murder. A 20-year-old boy bullied me, an old lady in her 50s, but this performance was too exaggerated. This cry attracted the attention of the entire floor. Zhang Chen stepped forward and slapped her again. This slap directly made her mouth bleed and her eyes were blurred. I'll teach you a lesson this time. If you dare to yell here again and disturb my father's rest, I'll tear your mouth apart. Zhang Chen crossed his arms, blocked the door of the ward, and spoke coldly. In the eyes of the people around him, this was undoubtedly a picture of a bully beating and oppressing a weak-old nurse. Too much, is there any justice? Really, a grown man bullies an old woman, the world is going downhill, I heard from the side that the nurse was just doing routine work and asked the patient to change the bed, but his son was so vicious that he beat an old lady in her 40s or 50s without knowing the truth. He has no martial ethics. The people watching the show around him accused Zhang Chen of being domineering and violent. Zhang Xiaoxiao was so anxious that she was sweating profusely. She wanted to get out from Zhang Chen and explain to the audience, but unfortunately, she only pulled her head out from Zhang Chen's waist after a long effort. No, my brother is not a bad guy. It's obviously the nurse who is unreasonable. Haha, as expected, birds of a feather flock together. The brother is violent, and the sister next to him is also unreasonable. He is full of black and white. This kind of person is the scum of society. A termite. A passerby who thought he saw through everything was talking big with everyone, and everyone agreed with him. Zhang Chen first comforted Zhang Xiaoxiao, but brother, they scolded you, aren't you angry? Xiaoxiao wiped her tears and said with tears in her eyes. How could it be? It's just a dog barking. Xiaoxiao, everything in this world is fake, only strength is real. Xiaoxiao, go back to the ward and be obedient. The next scene is destined to be inappropriate for children. After persuading Xiaoxiao to go back to the room and closing the door tightly, Zhang Chen turned and looked at the onlookers. Shut up. The roar was deafening. The whole floor seemed to be shaking. The discussion among the crowd suddenly stopped. Zhang Chen walked to the passerby. You are the one who scolded my sister. I couldn't bear to scold you, you are so brave. What's wrong? What do you want to do? If you do something wrong, you will be beaten, and you must stand at attention when you are beaten. You only know how to bully a weak woman, don't you feel ashamed, don't you feel guilty? The passerby stood with many people around him, and he bravely accused Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was too lazy to explain the cause and effect to him. Bear with it, it will be quick. After saying that, the passerby was still thinking about the meaning of Zhang Chen's words, and kicked the passerby in the chest with great force. The passerby's chest suddenly sank, and blood spurted from his mouth and hit the white wall of the hospital heavily, staining the wall red. The man died immediately. He couldn't even say a last word. Kill. Everyone was shocked by Zhang Chen's ruthlessness, and they all moved away from Zhang Chen like a tide. Some even climbed up from their wheelchairs and struggled to return to the ward to close the door. Thug. This thug who kills people when he disagrees with someone. How dare he? Security. Call security. The floor was in chaos. A nurse secretly pressed the button to call the security department. In the chaos, Zhang Chen walked to the middle-aged nurse. The middle-aged fat woman opened her eyes like copper bells, as if she couldn't believe what had just happened, and her body trembled. Devil, you just killed people for a bed. You are not a human. You are a heinous murderer. Unexpectedly, the middle-aged nurse was rarely tough in the face of the pressure from Zhang Chen's pacing, and angrily pointed at Zhang Chen and cursed. HMPH, when did I say I'm a good person? Are you trying to blackmail me? You've really picked the wrong person. I didn't want to kill you, but the passers-by who spoke up for you died, so it's a bit unreasonable for you, the person involved, not to die. Go accompany him. Zhang Chen said extremely cruel words in a calm tone. He has always been a person who follows his heart. The difference between him and those who do whatever they want is that Zhang Chen has his bottom line. He can be good or evil. He can tolerate a person without limit, and he can also burst out at any time to slaughter those who just offend him slightly. He is a chaotic neutral person who tends to be lawful. The middle-aged nurse was crying with fear, waiting for death quietly. Unexpectedly, she often walked by the river and finally got her shoes wet. She was just a little greedy, and occasionally accepted some red envelopes and bribes to arrange some benefits for rich and powerful patients. She always looked at people and served them according to their tastes. Encountered an unruly thug. Husband, son, goodbye. The middle-aged nurse looked at Zhang Chen's raised fist and closed her eyes silently, waiting for death to come. The expected blow did not come, and another gentle voice like a spring breeze appeared in the middle-aged nurse's ear. The nurse opened her eyes and saw a thin boy with a pale face, wearing a washed-out t-shirt, who was only about 18 or 19 years old, holding Zhang Chen's sandbag-sized fist tightly with one hand to prevent Zhang Chen from further attacking. "My dear, it's better to turn back. Killing is against the harmony of nature." Quote. The young man had black hair tied up like a Taoist priest, staring at Zhang Chen with a serious look. The young man's name was Feng Rong. He was originally a senior high school student and loved Taoist culture. He had just awakened his fruit ability a few days ago. Today, he suddenly heard that his sister had been hospitalized for many days and called him to visit her. Although there was a gap between him and his sister and he had always been dissatisfied with her, he immediately put down his chores and came to visit her when he heard that his sister was hospitalized. As soon as he arrived at the inpatient department of Sacred Heart Hospital, he heard a loud shout. Feng Rong, who had a sense of justice, had a bad premonition and hurried up to see the scene, and found that Zhang Chen was about to kill people. HMPH. Zhang Chen's strength increased, and a powerful force directly repelled Feng Rong. So strong. Feng Rong sensed the terrifying power contained in the opposite body because of his special fruit ability. Feng Rong pretended to use the force to pull the middle-aged nurse back a few steps. The strong prey on the weak, the fittest survive, this is the law of nature. Boy, do you want to stand out? Are you not afraid of death? Zhang Chen stared at Feng Rong coldly and mercilessly, with a murderous aura all over his body. Feng Rong was tense and sweat appeared on his forehead, but he was still on guard and protected the middle-aged nurse behind him. My dear, please forgive me when you can. I don't see any life and death hatred in your eyes. Murder. Do you need a reason? Zhang Chen tilted his head and asked back. You. Feng Rong was speechless for a while. It was bad. He met a real criminal. Gritting his teeth, Feng Rong knew that he might even lose his life in the next fierce battle. As they were facing each other, a team of well-equipped security personnel quickly surrounded the place not far away, and even the dean of Sacred Heart Hospital rushed over. Stop the thugs in front immediately. Several security personnel looked at the patient's body next to the wall and pointed their guns at Zhang Chen. Saved. Saved. 2 consecutive sighs came from the middle-aged nurse and Feng Rong respectively. Go Dongzi, the director of the Sacred Heart Hospital with a Mediterranean hairstyle, came to the dead passerby and shook his head after checking, and then asked someone to collect the body. He turned around and pointed at Zhang Chen with a headache. I am Go Dongzi, the director of the Sacred Heart Hospital. Who are you? How dare you make trouble in the Sacred Heart Hospital? And you are so vicious. In Zhang Chen's perception, he clearly felt that there was a hint of imperceptible joy hidden in the seemingly compassionate expression of this director. Of course, Zhang Chen didn't care about their conspiracy. Who am I? Zhang Chen calmly took out a coin and threw it into the air. With a parabola falling back, the coin returned to Zhang Chen's hand. Zhang Chen flipped it with one hand, and in the blink of an eye, the coin was replaced with a silver-white token. It was the Qingwu order. Director Go's eyes condensed, and then he suddenly realized for a long time and reluctantly asked people to put down their weapons. Why? He killed someone, why not arrest him? Feng Rong looked at the magical scene in front of him, his face full of disbelief. He is a warrior with the Qingwu order. Naturally, there will be someone to hold him accountable for this matter. The dean just said lightly that in this era, the strong are respected. In the final analysis, the Qingwu order is just a symbol of status. Although he can be exempted from legal accountability, that's all. If he is not strong enough and is killed by others, he can't blame anyone. Can the dean take action against him? Of course, but it's unnecessary. For this unknown warrior who is ruthless, as the saying goes, the barefoot are not afraid of the shoes, and the dean Go, who has a big family and a big business, doesn't want to cause any more trouble. Zhang Chen told the story, pointing to the middle-aged nurse and said, this person is stirring up trouble and dares to insult my family. If your hospital doesn't give me a reasonable explanation, don't blame me for being rude. In the backlit darkness, Zhang Chen said in a cold tone. The middle-aged nurse did not expect that the boy would be a powerful warrior. She felt that she was in big trouble and was terrified. Dean Go frowned, and then said, of course, don't worry, your family will be transferred to our VIP ward to enjoy good medical services. As for this nurse, I'm afraid you are wrong. This is a temporary worker in our hospital. She is not familiar with the operating procedures of Sacred Heart Hospital. She will be expelled immediately. Okay, I'll leave you a dog's life. Zhang Chen looked at the middle-aged nurse with a grin. The middle-aged nurse stared in disbelief, and her back was cold. Dean Go's eyes implied a warning, as if there was some unavoidable reason. The middle-aged nurse lowered her head and did not refute. Hey, are you sure this person is a murderer? No one answered Fang Rong's question. The security personnel gradually dispersed, and Dean Go and Zhang Chen decided a person's fate in a casual manner. Fang Rong felt his worldview collapse. This world is probably sick. The strong can do whatever they want, but are there no place for the weak? Fang Rong clenched his fists, his thin body stood straight, and watched the hospital director and Zhang Chen leave with a face full of unwillingness. In this world, the weak can only obey the rules. Passing by Fang Rong, Zhang Chen casually said this. Fang Rong looked up and seemed to see a hint of mockery at the corner of Zhang Chen's mouth. At this time, even the crowd who had been watching before had already dispersed, as if they were afraid of getting into trouble. While chatting with Dean Go about changing his father's ward, Zhang Chen turned his head and glanced at Fang Rong. The straight and lonely back seemed to be out of tune with the surroundings. What an idealist, Zhang Chen whispered softly. Fang Rong followed the door number in a daze and came to his sister's ward. He rubbed his face and tried to control his expression, returning to the confident yet cold young man who kept people at a distance. Open the door, and on the bed not far away, there lies a slim, fair-skinned, bright-eyed woman. The woman tilted her head quietly, looking at the bright sunlight outside the window, a little absent-minded, wearing a plain white hospital gown, without any. Next to the window, a bunch of bright yellow daisies were quietly placed in a vase, as if they had not been taken care of for a long time and had already withered. Fang Rong, you are here, have you eaten, is the living allowance enough? The woman turned her head and found that it was Fang Rong's quiet face with a surprised smile. Fang Rong looked cold and ignored the woman's concern. What happened? Why are you hospitalized all of a sudden? The woman pursed her lips and said nothing, it's just a little mistake at work. It's that job again. Didn't you promise me that you would not accompany that scumbag Shu Luo anymore? You've fallen into depravity. Fang Rong, this time, I really won't accompany Shu Luo. In life, if we can make our lives better, giving up some dignity is nothing. The woman smiled bitterly. Her parents died early, and she and her younger brother depended on each other since she was a child. If she didn't have an outstanding appearance at such a young age, how could she support herself and her younger brother? Being pointed at by outsiders is fine, but now even her own brother looks down on her. The woman's eyes suddenly turned red. Never mind, she just wanted to see her brother for the last time. Fang Rong, sister, I will go on a long trip in a while, and I may not see you for a long time. The woman took out a thick envelope from under the pillow. This is some of my savings accumulated over the years, you can use it, spend it sparingly, it should be able to make your life good. Without waiting for the woman to hand over the envelope, Fang Rong slapped the envelope away. As the envelope broke, several bank cards fell to the ground with a sky full of banknotes. I don't want your dirty money. You think you can do whatever you want with money. You think you can get respect from others with money. Do you know what people say about you behind your back? You are shameless, but I still have face. Fang Rong shouted angrily, pushed open the door and disappeared. The woman was so anxious that she wanted to call him, but suddenly her face froze, and she hurriedly took out a tissue from under the bed sheet. With a violent cough, a large amount of blood came out of her mouth. Under the seemingly white bed sheet, there were already a lot of bright red tissues. She was afraid that her brother Fang Rong would find out, so she deliberately covered it up. Her body had suffered a huge impact not long ago, and her organs were almost failing. She had been riddled with holes, and she knew that she would not live long. Tomorrow or an accident, who knows which will come first. The woman laughed at herself. Maybe this is retribution, just going to accompany the Liuhe gang for a drink, a sudden disaster, can end her life. Brother, I hope you can live forever innocently and happily. In the evening, Fang Rong, with lifeless eyes, threw 2 Baileys and wandered aimlessly in the city on the bus. Watching the bustling crowds rushing for various purposes, their expressions were either happy or sad, and their lives were fulfilling and stable, Fang Rong just felt lonely. Hidden under this seemingly civilized city is a naked cannibalistic rule. This rule forcibly distorts people's will and forces them to do things they don't want to do. Fang Rong suddenly felt a chill on his back. He was afraid. He was afraid that there would be more people like his sister who were forced into prostitution. He was afraid that honest people would be forced to lie. He was afraid that upright people would be forced to bend, and he was afraid that idealists like him would see their ideals shattered. Hey, boy, this is the terminal, you should get off the bus. The driver on the bus turned his head with a cigarette in his mouth and looked at the strange boy. After getting off the bus, Fang Rong, far away from the bustling city, continued to walk along the nearby mountain path, and finally stopped in front of a Taoist temple full of ancient charm according to his memory. On the red sandalwood plaque, the three characters, Ji Shou Guan, stood quietly. Stepping into it, an old man in Taoist robes was trimming flowers and plants. The layman is here again. Young men should be dressed in fine clothes and riding horses. Do you have any troubles today? Why not talk to me? The kind-looking old man saw Fang Rong's absent-minded look and pointed to the cushion beside him to ask him to sit down. The old man was the master of Ji Shou Guan. Whenever Fang Rong was depressed, he would unconsciously come here to talk with the old man to ask for answers. Sitting cross-legged, Fang Rong told the story of his sister and the cause and effect of the conflict with Zhang Chen today. The old man smiled but did not say a word, listening quietly to the young man's confession. Master, are the lives of those strong and talented people just lives, and the lives of those ordinary people just like grass? Are they born to be oppressed and humiliated? What happened to this era? Fang Rong was depressed and spoke out the doubts buried in his heart. Layman, you are possessed by demons. Are you cynical or self-pitying? The rules of this world will never be changed by personal will. It is the will of all living beings that created the current rules. You want to change it. Layman, only the strong are qualified to guide the direction of the times. Are you a strong person? Fang Rong bowed his head and said nothing. The master stroked his beard and smiled, his tone gentle but merciless. You want to change the cannibalistic rules. Is it based on your sympathy for the common people, or is it just because you are not the one sitting at the table? The words of the master were heartbreaking. Fang Rong's face turned pale. As if he was misunderstood, he hurriedly explained, of course, I am not doing it for my own selfish desires. Every strong man said this when he rose from obscurity. Fang Rong shook his head, I am different from them. I am just an ordinary person, but my heart is warm, and it has always been. I just want to make the world more fair, that's all. Good people can still be good, and everyone can stand up straight. The way of the great way is that the world is for the public, so that the old have a place to live, the strong have a place to use, and the young have a place to grow. Why can't this world accommodate such a simple idea? Fang Rong looked at the old man with tears in his eyes. The old man was stunned as if his heart was tugged hard. For a moment, he felt guilty for his own questioning of him like a villain. Is this the heart of a child? The old man was secretly moved. He could feel Fang Rong's heart, a fiery and sincere heart. It was a true pure heart. If it weren't for too many distractions and being trapped by the confusion of the world, it would be like a pearl covered with dust. If the dust is wiped off, the practice will surely advance by leaps and bounds in the future. He sighed secretly and developed a love for talent. Layman, if you want to change the times, you need to change yourself. In the world, personal destiny is never insignificant. In this world, only the strong can implement themselves, while the weak can only obey. Implement your own will in this era. You must know that you should regard the doubts of others as ghost lights, and you should boldly walk your own night road. The world is in decline. If you want to save the world, why bother about other people's opinions? The sound of the big bell was like a wake-up call, which shocked Fang Rong. Master, I understand. Fang Rong bowed to the old man, thank you for clearing my doubts, if not, I'm afraid I'd still be in prison without knowing it. The old man stroked his beard and laughed, as the saying goes, the master leads you to the door, but the practice depends on yourself. The fundamental reason why you can jump out of confusion is that you have something in your heart. After bidding farewell to the master, Fang Rong felt refreshed. He felt like a bird in a cage and a fish in a net. This time he knew to keep the temple. Flying like a bird in the sky, a fish in the sea, no longer bound. He couldn't wait to go back to see his sister. He wanted to admit his mistakes to her. Over the years, because of prejudice and the opinions of outsiders, he had never looked at his sister straight in the eye, but forgot her efforts for him. I'm sorry, sister, please let me support this family this time. Ding ding ding. A mobile phone rang, and Fang Rong, who was running down the mountain, stopped and took out his phone. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello, is this Fang Qian's brother Fang Rong? I am her landlord and her good friend. A low and sad female voice came from the phone. Yes, I am. Fang Rong's heart kept beating, and the unknown intuition made his heart a little uneasy. The person on the other end of the phone paused for a long time, seemed a little hesitant, and then seemed to make up his mind to speak again. Although it's against her will, as Fang Qian's only relative in this world, I think you shouldn't stay out of it. Your sister passed away. The phone fell to the ground, and Fang Rong stood there at a loss. He rushed to Sacred Heart Hospital without hesitation and pushed open the door of the ward. The closer Fang Rong got to his sister's bed, the more his heart beat wildly. Until the last moment, he didn't dare to believe it. In front of the bed, there stood a woman with red eyes. When she saw Fang Rong, she said, "Are you Fang Rong?" Fang Rong had heard it before. This was the voice of the landlord on the phone. Fang Rong nodded woodenly, and the woman took out a broken but glued envelope and handed it to him. This is what your sister asked me to pass on to you. Looking at the envelope in his hand, Fang Rong remembered that it was the envelope he had broken before, but this time, Fang Rong received it very carefully. Lifting the white cloth, Fang Qian lay peacefully on the bed, as if she was just sleeping. Fang Rong had no expression on his face, and his heart suddenly seemed to be neither happy nor sad. All emotions seemed to disappear completely. It seemed that at this moment his heartbeat suddenly became calm, even though it was beating so hard before. Fang Rong just looked at Fang Qian's face quietly for a long time without saying a word. Knowing that Fang Rong was in grief, the woman turned around and prepared to leave Fang Rong alone to say goodbye quietly. Wait a minute, sister, can you tell me what happened? Fang Rong's tone was as calm as water, mixed with a slight tremor. He didn't understand. His sister, who was still smiling sweetly a few hours ago, how could she suddenly die? Obviously didn't she say it was just a minor injury? The woman was stunned, and seemed a little surprised. Don't you know? Fang Qian didn't even tell you about this. Then she sighed. Yes, your sister cares about you so much, how could she make you worry? Just a few days ago, it seemed to be a gang fight. There was a violent conflict within the underground force called Liuhe Gang. The former leader of Liuhe Gang, Shu Luo, died, and your sister was also affected by the aftermath of the battle. You know, your sister is just an ordinary person. Although she was rescued in time, she only forced her life to last a few days. During that time, she didn't let me contact you because she was afraid that you would worry. She could have extended her life through surgery, but the cost was huge. For you, she gave up treatment just to give you the money she had accumulated over the years. She was really stupid. Speaking of the latter, the woman couldn't help sobbing, and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. Maybe I feel something today, just to see you for the last time. After the woman finished speaking, she covered her mouth and left with her face covered. Fang Rong was already in tears at this time. He knelt in front of the bed and held his sister's cold palm against his face. I'm sorry, it's all my fault, I'm useless. My kindness is all fake, I'm cold and selfish in my bones. I'm sensitive and cowardly, I'm inferior and conceited. I lack emotions, I'm cynical, I'm thinking about destruction all the time, I'm angry for my incompetence and excuse my inaction. I will only vent my anger on the people who love me the most. Fang Rong beat his head again and again in anger, as if this would alleviate his guilt. After a long time, Fang Rong's eyes were red. Liuhe Gang. I want you to pay with blood. The door of the ward was pushed open, and two people who looked like doctors walked in and said to Fang Rong. Family member, according to the rules, the patient should be sent to the morgue immediately after death to wait for cremation. For humanitarian considerations, we have kept her in the ward waiting for you. This is against the rules. We want to carry her away. I hope you can understand. Fang Rong held Fang Qian's hand tightly, and then wiped away the tears that kept flowing from the corners of his eyes. Well, I understand, thank you very much, let me personally send my sister off. After saying that, he was about to pick her up. You have been taking care of me all my life. Please let me see you off this time. Oh, no. The two doctors were obviously a little flustered, but unfortunately they were too late to stop them. Fang Rong carefully picked up Fang Qian in a princess hug. This hug, Fang Rong obviously felt something was wrong. Light, very light. My sister is 168 centimeters tall, and although she has been losing weight all year round to maintain her figure, she weighs about 49 kilograms. And now, from the perception of picking her up, it is only less than 20 kilograms. Fang Rong's face turned pale, as if he thought of a terrible guess, and he quickly opened and touched Fang Qian's abdomen. Sure enough, the abdomen was covered with stitched wounds. Touching it with his hands, it was true. The heart, liver, and kidneys had been removed long ago. Now the body was just an empty shell. Thinking of the panic shown by the doctor just now, Fang Rong's eyes were fierce. Gnashing his teeth, he said, "What did you do to my sister?" The two doctors looked at each other, then grinned. "Oh my, we've been discovered. It seems that we have to share some money to shut him up. Little brother, your sister can't be resurrected. Why not make the best use of it to save more people? Isn't it wonderful?" A tall doctor wearing gold-rimmed glasses held up his glasses with his hand, secretly angry. "I wanted to drag her to the morgue and peel off her cornea. How about this, little brother? This is a check for 500,000 Baileys. Just take it as a thank you for your sister's great love for the world. How about it? But you have to make a receipt, otherwise it will be bad if you take the money and then regret it, right?" The two doctors persuaded him. It's impossible to take our money. I don't believe you won't be tempted by this money. As long as you sign the agreement, I will sue you for extortion. Hee, the money will be back then, ha ha ha, you little idiot. You, or really beasts. It turns out that life is just a bargaining chip in your eyes. It turns out that the closest relatives in the eyes of others are just objects in your eyes, right? Fang Rong carefully placed his sister's body on the bed, gently arranged her clothes, and kept repeating, "Beast, beast, beast." The two doctors were stunned. Is this man stupid? Hey, kid, don't be stunned, sign the agreement quickly, and the money will be yours. One person walked up and stretched out his hand to grab Fang Rong's hand. Before he could make any move, a pair of hands full of sharp claws had pierced his heart, and the blood flowed strangely with the sharp claws flowed into Fang Rong's body. The man stared blankly at the arm on his chest, then at Fang Rong, with a face as ferocious as a demon. Sharp teeth extended from the corners of his mouth, and dark flesh wings grew from his back to wrap his whole body. His ears were pointed and long. A pair of eyes shed tears of blood. Just like the legendary vampire. Animal system, fantasy beast species, sucking, vampire form. This man was still explaining this before he died. After a while, the man was sucked dry of blood, and the whole person was like being fast-forwarded in life, quickly turning from a young man to a middle-aged man, and then to a gray-haired old man, and finally being sucked dry alive. Heaven and earth are unkind, and treat all things as straw dogs. This dirty world needs to be cleaned. The other doctor had already collapsed on the ground with his pants wet, and Fang Rong approached him with an expressionless demon-like face. Don't kill me. I'm just an employee too. It's Sacred Heart Hospital. It's all that Dean Go from Sacred Heart Hospital. He forced us. He cooperated with the underground dark forces to resell organs and sell infants. It's all his orders, big brother, spare my life. Seeing Fang Rong unmoved, the man kowtowed repeatedly. Yes, and your sister's organs have been reserved by the underground human trafficking organization Black Heart Society. It seems that your sister has been targeted because of her close relationship with the former leader of the Liuhe gang. Black Heart Society vowed to retaliate and suppress the Liuhe gang, and all those who have a relationship with the Liuhe gang will be targeted. Fang Rong pinched the man's neck, his sharp claws cut through the flesh, and was about to approach the man's carotid artery. Keep talking, I'll tell you. The man gasped for air, his face pale, and he dared not move, fearing that Fang Rong might accidentally cut his carotid artery. And your sister, in fact, may not die. Your sister is indeed seriously injured, but as long as she is treated well, she can actually save her life. It's the dean. That Dean Go Dongzi hinted that we were perfunctory in treatment, so she must have died early. In order to drain your sister's savings, he deliberately delayed the treatment. Big brother, I've said it, can you spare me? Spare you? Of course, sparing you is the matter of the King of Hell. I'm only responsible for sending you to see him. After saying that, Fang Rong suddenly strangled his neck without waiting for the man to call, and large amounts of blood were absorbed into his body, constantly nourishing Fang Rong's body. Soon, the man was sucked dry, and with a light pinch, he turned into ashes. He's right, only the strong are worthy of dominating the rules. I want to establish my own rules. Sacred Heart Hospital, Liuhe Gang, Black Heart Society. You think you are superior. You play tricks on everyone. Okay, I want to let you know what it means. When a common man gets angry, blood will splatter 10 steps away. Ah, sneeze. Zhang Chen rubbed his nose. What's going on? Can a strong man like me catch a cold? He touched his 8-pack abs and strong biceps. It must be because he stayed up too late. Staying up late will lead to sudden death. Exercising will lead to a strong body. Staying up late to exercise will lead to a strong corpse. He rubbed his shoulders, clicked on Pinshishi casually, and selected the most popular massager on the list. Clicked the Contact Customer Service button and entered text. Can this massager be shipped tomorrow? I'm in a hurry. Dear, no. When can it be shipped? Dear, it can be shipped tonight. Quote. Zhang Chen felt that this customer service was a bit weird. If you want to ship, can you send it to Nasadotong Express? As the most reputable and powerful express company in the Han Alliance, Nasadotong Express has always done a good job in protecting the goods from damage. After all, the distance between cities is far, and you have to cross endless fog and monster territories in the middle, which is dangerous and dangerous. Dear, no, we don't accept designated express delivery, dear. Okay, then what kind of express delivery do you send? Nanadotong. Ha. Zhang Chen turned off his mobile phone and gave the customer service a 1-star bad review. Zhang Chen, who was sulking, seemed to be still not satisfied. He picked up the phone and was about to add a bad review. The phone happened to ring. Pick up the phone. Hello, Zhang Chen, this is Duan Wei. A cool female voice came from the other end of the phone. It's like this, the Army Division wants to recruit you to help deal with a vicious incident that happened in the urban area of Qingcheng. If it's convenient for you to come to our division. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen frowned. The Qingwu order had only been in his hands for a few days and it was already in use. His fingers kept tapping on the table, and Zhang Chen kept thinking about the pros and cons. It seemed too unreasonable to refuse the first call directly, and now he was preparing to go out of the city to ambush and kill Hao Niu Bai. After weighing the pros and cons, Zhang Chen had a plan. His subordinate Zhang Wei, who had the ability of the mimicry fruit, was now ready to play his role. First go to the division, and then let Zhang Wei transform into his appearance to temporarily assist the Army Division in investigating the incident. And he just happened to be a stealth, sneaking out of the city to quickly kill Hao Niu Bai, and then return to replace Zhang Wei. Perfect alibi, perfect assassination. That's great, Zhang Chen couldn't help but sigh. With his clever brain, he should be very popular in the assassin business. It shouldn't be too much to be a killer king. Qingcheng Army Branch Base. Zhang Chen drove for nearly 2 hours and arrived at this majestic fortress far away from the center of the bustling city and close to the mountains. In front of the gate, steel barriers were lined up. In the sentry boxes on both sides, 2 fully armed soldiers wearing helmets and bulletproof vests were standing upright, and their eagle-like eyes kept patrolling the surroundings. Under the reception of a special person, Zhang Chen passed through several buildings, with a sentry every 10 steps and a sentry every 5 steps, and came to a meeting room. Pushing open the door of the meeting room, Duan Wei and Lu Chang had been waiting for a long time. Several men with different styles and colorful clothes were sitting in front of the long round table. Seeing Zhang Chen, Lu Chang smiled and came forward. Now that you're here, I've been waiting for you. Come and sit down. Sorry, Captain Lu. This is my first time at the base. I'm a little lost. Zhang Chen smiled apologetically at Lu Chang. Humph, who am I to be so arrogant? You're a rookie. You're so arrogant that you've made so many people here wait for you. An inappropriate voice sounded. It was a big man sitting in the corner, wearing a yellow jacket, with his arms folded across his chest, exposing his breasts, one foot on the conference table, with an arrogant look on his face. Wen Taihui, stop talking. The big man snorted coldly, his contempt was evident in his words. Lu Cheng frowned. We are all patriots who responded to the call. There's no need to make it so awkward. Then he looked at Zhang Chen. Come, let me introduce you. This is Zhu Kai, known as the Wind Chaser. He pointed to a man dressed as an ancient knight by the window, with a cold temperament and a sword in his arms. When he saw Lu Cheng introducing himself, he bowed his head slightly and nodded. That one is called Lu Renyi. He has great martial arts skills. His finger force is so strong that he can tear tigers and leopards apart alive. He is called the soul-scattering Iron Claw in the Jianghu. This one is called the Iron Palm floating on water, Chu Wanren. His lightness skill is extraordinary. The masters who were called all nodded lightly. The strong have their own pride. Then Lu Cheng pointed at the big man who was just weird. This is Wen Taihui, the Thunder Hand. Before he could finish speaking, Zhang Chen held his hand and interrupted him. Okay, Captain Lu, everyone is busy, let's get to the point. There's no need to introduce such an insignificant little character. Quote. Bang. The big man slammed the table, pointed at Zhang Chen's nose and cursed, Boy. Who the hell are you calling a little character? You're a young, immature boy. You can't figure out your position. Lao Lu, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but your branch is going backwards. You can bring in any rotten person. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson on behalf of your elders. After saying that, he stood up and was about to weigh it. Old thing, you're very brave. Zhang Chen was also furious, and his fingers were crackling. Lu Cheng and Duan Wei tried their best to dissuade the two, but they were pushed away one by one. Lao Lu, don't stop me. I have to teach this kid a lesson today. He has no respect for his elders. Miss Duan Wei, get out of the way. I haven't met such interesting trash for a long time. He's old and takes advantage of his age. Quote. The other recruits sitting in their seats were motionless, watching the fun with interest. Enough. Do you know who he is? He is Qinglong Zhang Chen. Lu Cheng shouted, and pushed Wen Tai back to his seat. The scene was silent. Qinglong Zhang Chen, the strongest new generation who defeated the old cunning Wang Jia of the Blood Wolf group with one hand and suppressed the human-faced moth with a snap of his fingers. Oh, sorry, I have heard of Brother Zhang for a long time. You are so handsome, you have both strength and appearance. Hurry up and take a seat, you must be tired after standing for so long. Brother Zhang, I have a daughter, 18 years old, who is not married yet, and I am in need of a good match. Zhang Chen, I have heard of your name for a long time, and I am thinking of asking you for some sword skills. I wonder if you can give me some pointers. Quote. When the masters who were recruited heard that he was Zhang Chen, they were immediately excited and surrounded Zhang Chen, chatting with each other. A great prodigy from Qingcheng. A new prodigy who surpassed by Qingshu of the natural department. He has unlimited potential in the future. If you get in touch with him, you will be able to rise to prominence in the future. You are too polite. I am just a junior and don't deserve such a title. Zhang Chen waved his hand. That's not right. As the saying goes, there is no order in learning, and the one who is more accomplished is the teacher. Brother Zhang is very powerful, and you and I hit it off right away. How about we become sworn brothers? I can also entrust my beloved daughter to you. From now on, you are my son-in-law, and I am your second brother. We will talk about our own things. Lu Renyi, the iron hand of the soul scattering, held his hand tightly and said eagerly. Kai, the wind-chasing sword eagle, and Chu Wanren, the iron palm floating on the water, me too. Quote, a bunch of lunatics. Zhang Chen felt a chill when he thought of the fact that he had 3 younger brothers who were several times older than him. Hey, you, the Thunder Hand, right. Why are you standing there? Why are you running? Zhang Chen looked at Wen Taihui not far away, as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw. Chapter 71. Wen Taihui, who was about to run away, turned around awkwardly, grinning with his big yellow teeth. I'm sorry, I admit that my voice was a bit loud just now, Mr. Zhang, I didn't recognize the great man, you were magnanimous, just treat me as a fart. To be honest, it's really a flood that has washed away the Dragon King Temple. My second brother's wife's niece is also studying in Chingcheng No. 1 middle school. Rounding it off, we are alumni. Hearing this, Zhang Chen was also a little amused, and the anger in his heart slowly dissipated. These people are quite funny when talking. Okay, everyone take a seat. Stop making trouble. Lu Cheng took charge of the situation at this time and ended the farce. Today, I recruited everyone to come here mainly to let everyone deal with a difficult case. Duan Wei stepped forward at the right time to open the computer PPT. The photos played on it were all mummies. Recently, there have been many vicious murders in Xinjiang. Dozens of victims died at home for no reason. The deaths were extremely cruel, all of them were sucked dry. Lu Cheng said in a deep voice. Everyone frowned, and Feng Zujian Ju Kai expressed his opinion and said in a deep voice, killing is killing, there is no need to suck people dry. From what I think, it is probably that a monster has mixed into the city and is doing evil. Everyone also felt that Ju Kai's analysis made sense. Zhang Chen took out a nail clipper to trim his nails, and casually agreed, Mr. Ju is right. Lu Cheng seemed to know what everyone would say. Yes, we thought so at the beginning, but as the number of victims increased, we found that the victims all had a common identity. That is, they were all doctors or nurses at Sacred Heart Hospital. And any non-human existence would not be able to do such an operation. Lu Renyi said, oh, then this was done by a person, a premeditated murder. Did Sacred Heart Hospital offend any force? There should be surveillance at the crime scene. There is indeed surveillance, but no similar suspects were found in the surveillance from beginning to end, which is also the most difficult. Lu Cheng frowned and smiled bitterly. Chu Wanren then spoke out his doubts. No matter how you look at it, this is a malicious murder case. Shouldn't it be handed over to the supervisory department? Zhang Chen agreed. Mr. Chu is right, he didn't care about the murder case or the criminal suspect. He just wanted to be a criminal suspect and get rid of the Hao family quickly. Duan Wei said at this time, the supervision department can handle ordinary crimes and public security issues, but it is a bit powerless when it comes to crimes committed by mysterious masters. Wen Taihui, who was sitting in his seat with his head down like a quail egg, couldn't help but interrupt and said, it can avoid surveillance and suck people into mummies. It must be done by a very powerful ability user. In my impression, only the natural sand fruit ability user can do it so quietly, and according to the warriors currently registered in Xinjiang, it seems that no one has obtained the natural ability user. You mean, this was done by a warrior from outside the city? Zhang Chen continued to lower his head and fiddle with his nails. Wen Taihui's words make sense. Hehe, brother Zhang, thank you for the compliment. Just a little bit of my humble opinion, Wen Taihui, who is considered a powerful person in the eyes of outsiders, kept nodding and bowing to Zhang Chen at this time. Wen Taihui straightened his back involuntarily. Hehe, although I haven't seen the murderer, I have already dug up all the information about the murderer. Humph, I am really a genius. We also have concerns in this regard, so we specially invited you to help. Lao Lu, you are not kind. You are killing us just because we have a good relationship, right? If he is really a natural sand fruit ability user, how can you let us fight? Yes, even if you want us to exhaust the physical strength of the unknown strong man, you don't see how strong the destructive power of the sand fruit is. It is not comparable to smoke. Don't let us be sucked dry before our physical strength is exhausted. Everyone is right. Everyone complained. Be patient. Of course I know that natural ability users are not easy to deal with. Now I am just suspicious. Besides, I invited Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was stunned. How did this melon fall on his head? Yes, brother Zhang is the only one in Qingcheng who has awakened his domineering power. If it's you, it's not impossible. Everyone seemed to have found their backbone, and they all looked at Zhang Chen with stars in their eyes. What the hell, I just wanted to get a mission, how did I become the core of the team? How can I implement my plan of replacing the pillars with the beams, oh my god? Zhang Chen was confused. Wait, everyone, let me sort it out first. Brother Zhang, take your time, don't rush. Brother Zhang, are you thirsty? What's going on, Brother Lu? There's no fruit in the conference room. Zhang Chen's brain was working fast. Everyone, have we lost sight of the point? Since the murderer is constantly hunting the doctors and nurses of Sacred Heart Hospital, why don't we just stay in the vicinity of those doctors and nurses in secret? The murderer will surface. Brother Zhang is right. Great. Listening to Brother Yang's words is like listening to the music of heaven. Well said, let's do as Brother Zhang says. No, we have thought of this method a long time ago, but the residences of these doctors and nurses are too scattered. Lu Cheng interrupted from the side, but he couldn't get a word in. So what if they are scattered? Catching the murderer depends on luck. Those who are not protected by us are killed by the murderer. It can only be blamed on their bad luck. They are destined to die. Captain Lu. We are here to solve the problem, not to be babysitters. Zhang Chen's low voice echoed in the conference room. In the warm and pleasant conference room in March, Zhang Chen's words showed that he treated human life as worthless, which made everyone shudder inexplicably. Zhang Chen praised his wit. He didn't believe that with so many doctors and nurses in Sacred Heart Hospital, the murderer could find the person he wanted to protect first. As long as he played a good time difference, this matter would still be perfect. Zhang Chen. They are people, living people, they may be fathers, mothers, sons. If those people were your relatives, you could be so cold and ruthless. Treat life like nothing. Duan Wei's chest rose and fell, her face flushed, and she couldn't help questioning Zhang Chen. Zhu Kai, Lu Renyi and others looked at each other's noses, noses at mouths, and mouths at hearts. Dig a hole, one is the strongest genius in the history of Qingcheng, and the other is the daughter of the strongest man in Qingcheng. You can't afford to offend the gods. Answer me, Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen looked at Duan Wei as if she was a fool. Miss Duan, what nonsense are you talking about? If my relatives are threatened, I will certainly not remain indifferent. I will not only protect them, but I will also protect their safety even if I don't sleep. I believe that anyone will choose to protect their family. Then those people, hey, you're right, those people are not related to me. It's okay to take care of them, but it seems a bit unreasonable to want me to fight for them, right, Miss Duan? Duan Wei was speechless for a moment. She didn't know how to refute this cold-hearted existence. She suddenly felt a little lucky that she didn't invite Zhang Chen to join the military. It was a kind of luck. Zhang Chen, people can't be so heartless, at least they shouldn't. Ah, yes, you were right. At the roadside market, vendors were shouting non-stop. Janbing guozi. Ah, a set of delicious janbing guozi, don't miss it if you pass by. A young man with a shaved head and an apron was shouting loudly, looking around. Boss, do you still have pancakes? Two girls dressed as students passing by came to the stall to ask. Yes, how many do you want? The boss asked absent-mindedly, scratching the iron plate with a spatula. Well, 2, multi-grain pancakes, right? Well, of course. The boss handsomely scooped up a large lump of dough and slammed it on the hot round iron plate. He found that most of the residue was still attached to the spoon and couldn't be evened out, so he kept knocking it there. This unfamiliar operation made the two girls a little confused. No, boss, I'm sorry to ask, how long have you been doing this? Oh, 7 or 8 years. The boss said confidently, and then kept scratching, trying to make the pancake round. Performing a one-handed egg beating, the egg liquid mixed with the eggshell fell into the pancake, and he quickly reached out to clean up the eggshell and shivered from time to time from the iron plate. This series of actions made the two girls laugh. Boss, you forgot to add lettuce. Boss, this ham sausage is not something you can knead directly with your hands. Boss, your pancake seems to be broken. Finally, the two girls left with a bunch of broken pancakes with a depressed look on their faces, leaving a sentence before leaving. Boss, why don't you go to work in the factory? It's more promising than setting up a stall. After the busy boss sent the two guests away, he wiped the sweat from his head and began to look around again. At a nearby fried noodle stall, a pale-faced teenager was eating fast food with his head down, glancing at the pancake stall from time to time. That man was Fang Rong. Are all those black-hearted doctors at Sacred Heart Hospital protected? There are plainclothes sentries everywhere. It seems that the plan against Sacred Heart Hospital has to be shelved. Let's wipe out the Liuhe gang first. Throwing the change on the table, Fang Rong left without looking back. In the Liuhe bar with chaotic lights and explosive music, Cheng Dongqing, Zhang Wei, Lu Zibu and others were playing dice and drinking, and from time to time they looked at the beautiful girl in the center of the stage wearing cool clothes and dancing to the explosive music. Haha, Abu, you lost, drink it. Lu Zibu took a sip of the wine glass, but secretly left a third of it with his fingers, and then quickly picked up the bottle and filled it up. I'll finish this cup, you guys can do whatever you want. What are you doing? Are you just raising fish? Are you trying to avoid drinking? Do you think we are blind? At this time, Lu Hua, the new leader of Liuhe gang, came to Cheng Dongqing humbly and respectfully. Brother Cheng, how was your fun today? Oh, get out of here, don't bother me, do your own thing. Cheng Dongqing waved his hands impatiently. Oh, yes, I'll get out of here right away. Brother Cheng, remember to say a few good words for me in front of young Master Zhang. Then Lu Hua took out a few big envelopes and gave them to Cheng Dongqing and the others one by one. Cheng Dongqing's envelope looked particularly big. Zhang Wei opened it casually, and saw a pile of banknotes inside. Wow, Brother Cheng is quite generous. If he wants to give, just take it. It is our principle to take money and not do anything. Stupid, and you want Brother Cheng to say a few good words for him in front of the president. If the president appreciates him, we can't say bad things. If the president doesn't appreciate him, it's useless even if he gives us 10 wazi. At the door of Liuhe Bar, the welcoming doorman was yawning out of boredom. Whenever he felt sleepy, he would turn his head and look at the slim beauties through the glass, and then his eyes would light up, as if he had been injected with chicken blood, and he would start his hard work on duty again. Whenever a drunk female customer left, he would also help her up and down and send her to a taxi. It's a crappy job, the money doesn't matter, I just like the atmosphere. As he was thinking about it, the doorman suddenly saw a young boy wrapped in black clothes walking towards him across the street, or to be more precise, towards Liuhe Bar. Hey, what the heck, stop, minors are not allowed in the bar. The doorman yelled. The young man was obviously stunned. I spend money, the bar makes money, isn't that what you want to see most? Huh, kid, so what, I have principles. The doorman's mouth fell. He had a fixed salary of 2,000 baileys a month. It didn't matter to me whether the bar was doing well or not. If you, a minor, were reported and the bar closed, where would I go to see the beauties? Fang Rong was slightly stunned, revealing a pale face. You are a good person. And good people should live well. Then Fang Rong continued to walk into the bar. Hey, why don't you listen to my advice, go. The doorman said as he was about to grab Fang Rong's arm. Fang Rong just waved his hand lightly, and the doorman immediately felt a burst of force coming, and then was thrown across the street of the bar. The force was both fierce and gentle, and it actually made the doorman land safely. The doorman, who came back to his senses, combined with the boy's confusing words before leaving, secretly said, it's bad. This person is suspicious, and he is probably here to cause trouble for Liuhe Bar. He quickly took out his mobile phone and reported the situation to his superior. The supervisor who received the news quickly found the boy through search. Hey, boy, you are looking for trouble, right? Come with us. The bar manager crossed his arms and stared at Fang Rong coldly. 5 or 6 burly men surrounded him. Fang Rong raised his pale face and grinned, I'd love to. Who are you? In the basement, the former bar manager and his men had long been dead in a pool of blood, their hearts missing from their chests, and they seemed to be full of surprise before they died. Lu Hua and several high-level members of the Liuhe gang looked at the existence in front of them that looked like a vampire in myth and legend, and asked with great vigilance. Who am I? I'm just a ghost wandering in the world without any worries. Humph, playing tricks. You think there's some internal turmoil in the Liuhe gang, and any cat or dog dares to provoke you, right? A high-level strongman of the Liuhe gang flipped his palm and a butterfly knife appeared in his hand. Go to hell. A terrible attack like a ghost snake exploring a cave pierced Fang Rong's throat. Seeing that the young man didn't dodge, the man snorted coldly, thinking that he had met a fool. Lu Hua felt something was wrong when he saw the boy's calm appearance, so he retreated behind everyone. Sure enough, something unexpected happened. The man's butterfly knife pierced the boy's abdomen and blood splattered. Before the senior executive could mock him, the splattered blood seemed to drill into the hole like tentacles. Soon, it wrapped up the senior executive. With the creepy chewing sounds, the blood automatically flowed back into the boy's body. The boy showed an expression of enjoyment, but the senior executive exposed by the blood had already become a mummy. Everyone in the Liuhe gang felt a chill rushing to the top of their heads. What kind of monster is this? Before Lu Hua and the others could react, the devil-like boy grinned, and the ferocious flesh wings behind him suddenly stretched out. You all have to die here today. The chilling words shook the surroundings. Don't be afraid. This kid's fruit ability is a bit weird, everyone be careful. When I was killing people, you didn't even know where to play in the mud. One person drew out the pudao beside him and swung the knife with all his strength to slash. At the same time, his body began to become hot and the strong high temperature burned the pudao red. It appears, the ability of the deputy gang leader, the superhuman heat fruit ability user, can emit high temperature from the body, just like the sun. Now the highest combat power of the Liuhe gang. The people of the Liuhe gang next to him cheered and jumped for joy. Fang Rong stood in place, blood seeped out of his skin and spread to form a pool of blood. Dozens of tentacles made of blood strangled the deputy gang leader. The deputy gang leader dodged flexibly, moved coquettishly, and swung the hot machete from time to time to cut off the tentacles, like hot oil pouring on snow, and the cut tentacles sizzled. It must be said that blood and many liquids are mostly afraid of high temperatures. Boy, your fruit ability is completely restrained by me. Let's see what you can use to fight me. The deputy gang leader grinned, and with a swing of the knife, he split Fang Rong's figure in two. The touch is wrong. This is an afterimage. A cold breath sounded from behind the deputy gang leader. I'm here. Fang Rong was suspended in the air, his arms stretched out, and behind him were huge bat wings that covered the sky and the sun. The whole person seemed like a demon lord who dominated the world. Countless blood-colored bats kept breaking off from Fang Rong. They hit the deputy gang leader like raindrops, and the blood-colored bats quickly wrapped him up and bit him. The deputy gang leader struggled hard, and the little bat that was crushed by him burst into pieces. The blood flowed strangely as if it was going to seep into his body. Ah, fool, don't even think about it. I am the sun. The deputy gang leader screamed in pain, and his body suddenly emitted endless light and heat. The fiery red light illuminated his body, and his body, which was as hot as magma, continued to burn the blood around him. All things in the world are interdependent and mutually exclusive. Don't think you can do whatever you want with the fruit. The deputy gang leader squatted down and gathered his strength with his feet, then suddenly jumped up. He emitted a fiery and bright light all over his body and crashed into Fang Rong like a meteor. You are cruel and merciless, and you prey on all living things. Have you ever experienced their fear? Fang Rong also flapped his wings, and a storm suddenly arose. Endless blood gathered around his body, and he also swooped down. The fiery meteor and the blood-colored long rainbow collided with each other. The collision produced a violent explosion, and the scorching high temperature and thick blood-colored steam filled the entire space. The two sides confronted each other. Fang Rong's sharp claws stabbed into the deputy gang leader's chest. The deputy gang leader held his arm tightly and tried his best to stop the claws from moving forward. The scorching heat roasted Fang Rong's entire arm and made it sizzle with oil. A smell of meat filled the air. Stop it, boy, how about we each take a step back? You and I have never met before, how can there be such a big hatred? As the saying goes, there is no acquaintance without fighting. Why don't we turn hostility into friendship? Make friends. The deputy gang leader gritted his teeth and said with a red face, and his obviously hot body actually showed a trace of cold sweat. Fang Rong was indifferent, not caring about his injured arm at all, and his claws slowly and firmly penetrated into the deputy gang leader's body. So you will be afraid when you encounter more powerful violence. You will be terrified. Asshole. Lu Hua, what are you waiting for? You want to see me die, right? The door suddenly opened in the void, and a fine steel spear pierced Fang Rong's chest directly from behind. It was Lu Hua who threw a spear from a distance and hit Fang Rong. He was about to run after throwing it. Fang Rong felt pain, and the blood oozing from his back turned into a hook and quickly moved forward to tie up Lu Hua. Want to escape back to the space? Dream on. The deputy gang leader also fought hard at this time. The hand with high temperature directly roasted the flesh and blood on Fang Rong's entire arm into charcoal and peeled off, leaving only a skeleton. Fang Rong was like a madman, and the other arm that was still intact suddenly broke its bones, and the sharp bone spurs directly pierced into the deputy gang leader's throat. Ha, ha, the deputy gang leader repelled Fang Rong with a palm, covered his throat that was constantly bleeding, and kept retreating, his face full of disbelief. He couldn't figure out what hatred and resentment the boy who would rather hurt himself than die with him had with him. Fang Rong half knelt on the ground, gasping for breath, with a spear stuck in his chest and his left arm completely broken. Do you know Fang Qian? Fang Qian, who is that? Did I die because of this name? How ridiculous. The deputy gang leader didn't know until his death why this brutal boy killed him. Fang Rong struggled to get up, and violently pulled out the sharp weapon in front of his chest, and Fang Rong threw the bloody and fleshy body on the ground. Lu Hua swallowed unconsciously when he saw Fang Rong's actions. This guy was too cruel to him. You are the new leader of the Liuhe gang. Looking at the tied Lu Hua in front of him, he looked up to the sky and howled. One of the culprits has finally fallen into his hands. Do you still remember the woman who was innocently affected by you a few days ago? What? Don't be excited, sir. You want a woman, right? I'll give it to you. I'll find you any woman you want. Lu Hua was tied up all over and couldn't use his ability to escape. He couldn't understand what this guy said at all. What innocent woman? There are so many people who have been killed by accident over the years. Who would care about the life and death of ordinary people? Fang Rong covered his face with blood and tears and trembled, laughing crazily, ha ha ha. It's ridiculous. Your life is precious, and the lives of ordinary people are just pigs and dogs, right? Ha ha ha. He suddenly became very calm. You'd better die. A blood arrow shot at Lu Hua swiftly. Brother Chang, save me. A black shadow passed by, and the broad palm directly slapped the blood arrows away. It was Chang Dongqing who saved Lu Hua. At this time, Chang Dongqing had already activated his fruit ability, and his huge body of 6 meters high was like a prehistoric beast. Crossing in front of the two people. This, half-human, half-ghost sir, has made enough trouble and killed enough, you can't touch this person. Chang Dongqing held a cigarette in his mouth and blew out a few smoke rings, looking down at Fang Rong, and said casually. Are you from the Liuhe gang? Humph. No. You want to stop me? Yes. Why? You ask me why. Just because I am the first general under Qinglong Zhongchen. This place is protected by our president Zhong. Chang Dongqing lowered his head and looked at Fang Rong with contempt. Don't make a mistake, kid. Qinglong Zhongchen, the first genius of Qingcheng, who possesses the strongest animal fruit ability. A monster that is invincible in the same realm. Who in Qingcheng doesn't know his name? Each of these names makes Fang Rong breathless. I thought Qinglong Zhongchen was such a hero, but now I see that he is just a bully. They are all birds of a feather. Boy, I think you don't want to live anymore. You're looking for death. As the number one lackey under the president, Ba, the number one thug, Chang Dongqing was furious when he saw that this man dared to insult Zhongchen in front of him. The huge dragon tail just swayed gently and cracked the floor. Tornado destroys the parking lot. Chang Dongqing exerted force on his waist and turned around. The dragon swung its tail, and the ferocious giant whip swept across Fang Rong while whistling. Fang Rong, who was slightly weak, couldn't dodge at all. He could only passively wrap his whole body with bat wings. The violent impact smashed Fang Rong and his wings directly into the wall and buried him under the ruins. What a broken bar, earthquakes all day long. I can't play anymore, refund the money, I won't come again. Hee, if you don't come, I will. Oh, sister, there is an earthquake, brother, let me take you home. Demay, the spectators in the bar who didn't know the truth shouted. The basement that had just been renovated became a ruin again. Brother Chang, how is it, is that guy dead? Zhang Wei, Lu Zibu and others asked. Who knows? Chang Dongqing spit out the cigarette in his mouth, his face solemn, take that Lu Hua to stay aside, the battle has just begun. As an outstanding 3 good student of Qingcheng No. 1 Middle School, Chang Dongqing is also a veteran fighter with rich combat experience. Although he is not as good as Zhong Chen and He Wei, who are unique geniuses, he is also a good fighter who followed Zhong Chen to chop from South Street to North Street with 2 machetes. He has seen all kinds of scenes. He only showed a silly look in front of Zhang Chen. In the eyes of outsiders, Cheng Dongqing, who is tall and strong and has the ability of the ancient Brachiosaurus fruit, is also a ferocious existence. Under the ruins, the brick and stone walls were quickly pushed away by tentacles made of blood. Countless blood lifted Fang Rong up like a king. I will not lose. With a low roar, the voice and smile of his sister Fang Qian kept appearing in Fang Rong's mind. Countless tentacles bit at Cheng Dongqing like poisonous snakes, and the blood tentacles kept wrapping around his body. Unfortunately, Cheng Dongqing's body was too big and his skin was thick, so the damage caused by the blood tentacles was minimal. Knowing the abnormality of the opponent's blood control ability and his own great vitality, Cheng Dongqing simply gave up defense. Overwhelmed by force. In the low basement, in the narrow space, Fang Rong, who lost his flying advantage, could only choose to fight Cheng Dongqing head-on. Roar! A giant dragon roared, and the terrifying shock wave directly crushed the blood around him. Fang Rong was shocked by the sudden roar and lost consciousness for a short time. Resisting the blood whip that kept whipping him, the tall and ferocious monster rushed towards Fang Rong with heavy steps that shook the ground 3 times with every step. Iron block, finger gun, dragon claw attack. The 2 powerful arms used a speed that was inconsistent with their body size, and slapped Fang Rong with both claws at the same time like slapping a fly. Fang Rong, who was originally a technical flow, was now in a favorable situation. His advantage in flying in the basement was compressed, and the huge and thick body of Cheng Dongqing on the opposite side further compressed his space for dodging and maneuvering. In addition to the continuous fierce battle and serious injuries, Fang Rong was already at the end of his strength at this time. I will not resign myself to it. Fang Rong stimulated his last potential, and more blood was squeezed out of his body again, and his face became visibly paler. Bloody spider web. The densely packed silk threads composed of highly condensed blood formed a line of defense to frantically resist Cheng Dongqing's dragon claw attack. Both sides roared at the same time and began to wrestle. Insult big brother. You have already got a way to die. Break it for me. Cheng Dongqing squeezed hard with both claws. His face was ferocious. My road to revenge has just begun. I will never fall here. Fang Rong roared wildly and was not willing to be outdone. After a period of stalemate, Fang Rong finally lost his strength and Cheng Dongqing broke through the blood defense line with overwhelming force and slapped Fang Rong's body with his claws together. Thick blood splattered everywhere. Cheng Dongqing was bathed in blood and loosened his palm, and Fang Rong's body fell to the ground from his hand. At this time, Fang Rong was beaten into a beast form, and his bones were broken. Blood was flowing, and a blood hole the size of a gun barrel was pierced in his chest and abdomen. The left arm had been torn to the shoulder and the burn marks were vaguely visible. Cheng Dongqing looked at Fang Rong, who was in a young age, and shook his head, somewhat surprised that he was as young as himself. Are you also a student? If I had known this would happen, I would have done it in the first place. The reckless boy was ignorant of the immensity of the world and always insisted on doing things his own way, but he didn't know that life is only once and there is no chance to go back. The boy lying in a pool of blood was not dead yet. A hoarse voice sounded, I hate it. Why? Why should my sister die like an ant without knowing what's going on? Why don't I even have the qualifications to avenge her? Why do you protect a scum just because of one person's preference? Why can't this world accommodate the desire of an ordinary person who just wants to live an ordinary and stable life? I hate it. In a ruined basement, the dying cry of the boy was deafening. Cheng Dongqing turned and looked at Fang Rong. You are 18 years old, you should not be so naive. I have seen many cynical young people like you. This world is inherently unfair. Some people are born with prominent family backgrounds and do whatever they want, while others are born monsters and look down on all living beings. Why do you think that anger can change your fate? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being born in the wrong place, in this era of decline. Everyone is so hypocritical and pedantic. You are young and ignorant, and you naively think that you can change the people and things around you as long as you don't like them. You naively think that you can change this era. Cheng Dongqing shook his head and sighed. Do you think you live in an era where people eat people? Wrong. That's because there are really monsters that eat people in the outside world, outside of human civilization. Following Zhang Chen's influence, Cheng Dongqing couldn't help but be very satisfied with his speech just now. Although he is not very smart, he is still a pitiful person. Cheng Dongqing looked at Lu Hua with contempt. It's all the fault of your Liuhe gang. It's unfair, Brother Cheng. I admit that the Liuhe gang used to do some evil things, but Brother Cheng, you know me. I am a coward and never take the initiative to cause trouble. I have never participated in any of the dirty things that the Liuhe gang did before. Lu Hua smiled bitterly with an innocent face. Now the core members of the Liuhe gang are almost all dead except me. This boy should have taken revenge if he wanted to. After listening to Cheng Dongqing's words, the boy's eyes seemed to have lost their light. So, Brother Cheng, this kid seems to still have a breath left. What should we do? Lu Hua lowered his eyebrows and looked at Cheng Dongqing with a cautious look in his eyes. What else can we do? Give him a quick death. Let him go peacefully. Cheng Dongqing whispered softly, I am so gentle. Ha 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 ha, it's so lively. A burst of wanton and arrogant laughter rang out. Who is it? Lu Hua, Cheng Dongqing and others looked at the source of the sound, and saw 5 people wearing red robes and white faceless masks at the entrance of the basement, standing there in place. Looking at the black heart pattern engraved on the chest of the strange existence on the red robe, Lu Hua screamed, it's the Black Heart Society. Black Heart Society? What the hell is that? Cheng Dongqing was puzzled, while Zhang Wei, Lu Zibu, Ren Qingxing and Lu Hua secretly hugged each other and confronted the people of the Black Heart Society on the opposite side. Brother Cheng, you don't know that this Black Heart Society is one of the 4 major underground forces in Qingcheng. It specializes in human trafficking. Small gangs like our Liuhe gang often have to obey them. The Liuhe gang's previous business of secretly trafficking people was also instructed by them. Lu Hua patiently explained on the side. Black Heart Society. Feng Rong, lying on the ground, pointed at the 5 people with unwillingness and resentment in his eyes. It's really interesting. Is the Liuhe gang so weak? It was beaten up like this by a mere teenager. It's a pity that the higher-ups want us to educate you. It's ridiculous. Do you still need to educate? Everyone is dead, haha. The 5 people mocked them unscrupulously, and then looked at Feng Rong on the ground with a greedy look as if he was looking at a stunning beauty, but there is still something to gain. It's really a perfect material. A rare user of the fruit ability of the fantasy beast species, with such tenacious vitality and great regeneration ability. Those crazy people who love to do experiments must be very happy. Huan, we can sell it for a good price, thief, ha ha ha. Then he looked at Cheng Dongqing and the others. Thanks to you guys, you saved us a lot of effort. As a thank you, I will give you a perfect destination. By the way, where do you want to be sold as slaves? Perfect. It's too perfect. The Liuhe gang is almost dead. The mastermind who is against us has also appeared, and we have found such a perfect product. Today must be our lucky day. Quote. Those people talked unscrupulously and obviously regarded Cheng Dongqing and the others as lambs to be slaughtered. The sinister tone made Lu Hua, Cheng Dongqing and the others feel cold on their backs and their hair stood up. Oh no, it's not easy to deal with Brother Cheng. I know, the aura exuded by these people is not inferior to mine. The leader might even be a bronze player. Cheng Dongqing whispered to Zhang Wei and others with a gloomy face, when the situation is not right, you run first, I will hold them back. Brother Cheng, you really, I am crying. Brother Cheng, my friend. And you are the real hero. I will take care of your wife and children, don't cheat on them. Zhang Wei, Lu Zibu and others were moved to tears. Cheng Dongqing was full of black lines, he suddenly felt that it was not impossible for him to run away. Brothers, don't get excited, don't worry, I am here, Lu Hua said secretly behind everyone. Yes, the superhuman door fruit ability user is here, if you can't beat him, just run away, and go back to find the big brother to call for help. Cheng Dongqing immediately became more aggressive. Hey, who are you, the rats who dare not show their true faces, barking here? What are you talking about? Black Heart Society. My elder brother is Qinglong Zhongchen. Cheng Dongqing pointed at the 5 members of the Black Heart Society with his nose in the air, and shouted arrogantly. The 5 masked members of the Black Heart Society were obviously stunned, and then looked at each other. Things seemed to be a little troublesome. My elder brother, Qinglong Zhongchen. Qinglong Zhongchen. Did he ask you to intervene in the affairs of the Liuhe gang and oppose us? My elder brother. Qinglong Zhongchen. You said you are Qinglong Zhongchen's man, what evidence do you have? My elder brother. Qinglong Zhongchen. Quote, quote. What? Stop talking, my elder brother. Qinglong Zhongchen. If you don't dare to do anything, get out of here. Cheng Dongqing pointed at the 5 people's noses and shouted arrogantly. Boss, I can't stand it anymore, just kill this guy. The leader thought for a moment. He had no way to prove whether they were really related to Zhong Chen, but he also had no way to prove that they were fake. For this kind of thing, it is better to believe it than not to believe it. It is better to kill someone by mistake than to let him go. Boy, I just wanted to sell you guys, but now it seems that I have to kill you on the spot. As long as all of you present here are dead, and then you will be scattered all over the place. Even if Qinglong Zhongchen comes in person, so what? I don't believe he can find us murderers. Quote. The leader smiled sinisterly, and the 5 people slowly stepped forward and surrounded Cheng Dongqing and the others. What's wrong with Brother Cheng? It seems that calling out the name of the big brother doesn't work. Why is the murderous aura on the other side even stronger? How the hell do I know? I saw in other novels that the protagonist's younger brother called out the protagonist's name, and the villain immediately left in disgrace. Brother Cheng, why are your academic performance so bad? How can you get good grades if you read novels every day? Also, it seems that the villains die faster when they shout at the backstage. Don't talk nonsense. I'll hold them back. Lu Hua, quickly activate the ability of the door-to-door fruit. Received. Lu Hua immediately made a seal with his left hand and drew a circle with his right hand in the air, muttering a spell, demons and ghosts, please leave, demons and ghosts, please leave. Am I seeing this right? When is it? When does the door-to-door fruit need to use spells and gestures? Quote. LV Zebu was madly complaining on the side. Brothers, you don't know that people have different physiques. Even if it is the same fruit, everyone's usage and development degree are different. I, Lu Hua, have studied for half a lifetime and found that the best effect of opening the door is to combine the formula with the gesture. Study a fart, I think you are stunned by the animation movie. Quote. At this time, Cheng Dongqing had already enlarged his body, protecting Lu Hua, Lu Zibu and others behind him, and desperately resisting the crazy attacks from the 5 people. Turning around, why hasn't this door opened yet? Lu Hua, can you do it, little dog? Cheng Dongqing yelled at Lu Hua. At this time, Lu Hua's face was flushed and sweating. Don't rush me, don't rush me, the more you rush me, the more nervous I am. The 5 people saw their plan. Not good. These people are going to escape. Brothers, don't hide it. Go all out. Quick battle. We must not let them escape from here. Otherwise, we will definitely die later. That's Qinglong Zhongchen, we can't afford to offend him. The leader roared, and his hands turned into huge long swords. Whoever stands in my way will die. Double sword style undivided slash. Bah, what's going on? The murderer is not going to kill again, right? Spitting out the dogtail grass in his mouth and brushing off the dust on his body, Thunderhand Wen Taihui stood up from the bushes. He was a bronze master, squatting in the bushes and being bitten by mosquitoes all night, and he didn't get anything. Wen Taihui was busy all night. He was busy all night. A sand fruit user is so cowardly. Although Wen Taihui had never seen the murderer, he was extremely confident that the murderer must be a sand fruit user. He was so confident in his perfect reasoning. At this time, on a big bed in a room in a residential building, Zhong Chen, who had slept soundly all night, opened his eyes. In the corner of the room, a doctor from the Sacred Heart Hospital, who was the owner of this house, and his wife, children, parents, a family of 5, were fainted in the corner. That's right, Zhong Chen was responsible for monitoring that doctor last night. He didn't want to suffer like Wen Taihui for a whole night, so he simply went directly into the surveillance person's house, hit each person on the head, knocked them unconscious, put them in front of him, and then went to sleep, resting and monitoring at the same time. He believed that with his observation hockey, as long as the murderer dared to appear in front of him, he would definitely not be able to escape. Last night was Christmas Eve. Then he got up and took out a box of fresh contemporary ranch fresh milk from the refrigerator, and took out a few eggs, and made a few boiled eggs in the kitchen casually, making do with breakfast. After breakfast, he casually put the family of 5 back to their respective bedrooms and beds, and covered them with quilts. I protected you all night, slept in your house, ate a few eggs and drank a bottle of milk. It's not too much, this is a blessing you can't cultivate in 8 lifetimes. Zhang Chen sighed, is there anyone in the world who is more kind than me? The cunning murderer Hu Ling Wentaihui, Zhang Chen, and the army branch had been waiting for all night had already been taken away by the Black Heart Society. Just at this moment, Ji Yu Qingying called, President, please come back soon, Cheng Dongqing is injured. In the exclusive medical room of the student union, Zhang Chen looked at Cheng Dongqing, who was wrapped in bandages and had 2 huge X-shaped scars on his chest, eating and drinking, and frowned. What's going on? Who beat you up like this? Woo woo woo, brother, I'm so happy to be able to come back alive to see you. Brother, you don't know how dangerous it was last night. I almost couldn't see you. As Cheng Dongqing, Zhang Wei and others talked about it, Zhang Chen gradually understood the cause of the incident. You mean, last night the Liuhe gang was destroyed by a boy who possessed the animal-type bat fruit and was in the form of a mythical beast vampire. Then you, Cheng Dongqing, fought back and forth with the boy to save Lu Hua, and finally defeated him. Then you were picked up by the underground organization of the Black Heart Society and were injured by the leader of the Black Heart Society. At the critical moment, you were lucky enough to be rescued by the air door opened by Lu Hua. Yes, that's right. Otherwise, the big brother is the big brother, and his words are clear and logical. Cheng Dongqing kept nodding his head. What you experienced tonight was quite exciting, more like the protagonist than the protagonist. However, in the final analysis, you were defeated because you were too weak, Xiao Cheng. Cheng Dongqing lowered his head embarrassedly. Big brother taught me that I will definitely. I will not fail again. HMPH. This matter is over. When your injury is healed, I will give you a special training. I will use my iron fist of love to stimulate your potential. Zhang Chen clasped his hands together, and his finger bones crackled. Big brother, don't, as if recalling the fear of being dominated, Cheng Dongqing immediately turned bitter. Everyone on the side covered their mouths and laughed, and Lu Zibu, Zhang Wei and others started to make noises. Oh, brother Cheng is just lame. Oh, so you are very brave. Zhang Chen looked at them with a playful look. Of course, President, we are very brave, we have been training recently. Really? Then let's go to the special training with Cheng Dongqing. Ah, President, we are wrong. No, President, HMPH, don't even think about escaping. Zhang Wei and Lu Zibu immediately felt like Cheng Dongqing before. This is really doomed. Cheng Dongqing's bitter face suddenly turned into a smile. He was very happy to see his brothers suffering with him. He couldn't bear to see his brothers suffering, and was afraid that his brothers would drive a Land Rover, but it was different when they suffered together. In an unknown underground base, complex electronic instruments were installed in the white rooms. In the technological passage, a group of scientific researchers in white coats where the staff opened a password door, passed through layers of disinfection, and entered one of the rooms. Through a piece of coated glass that could only see inside the room but not outside. A teenager was lying quietly on the operating table. His arms, legs, and neck were each controlled by a circle of solid steel rings and chains. Several doctors stood around, dressed in sterile clothes and gloves, and were cutting open the boy's stomach. As the kidneys, liver and gallbladder were taken out, only a heart and a pair of lungs were left. But even so, the boy never died. His heart was still beating weakly when exposed to the air. Quick, give him a blood transfusion, and don't stop giving him glucose. The devil-like white-coated staff shouted excitedly through the glass. See, his blood is constantly coagulating, trying to regenerate organs. Really powerful regeneration ability. As expected of a rare user of the fantasy beast fruit. Really a perfect experimental carrier. If it were him, he should be able to withstand the backlash of the drug and not explode and die. Yes, that boy is Fang Rong. Sold by the Black Heart Society to one of the 4 giants of the underground evil forces, the SAW contracting organization that loves human experiments. The boy Fang Rong looked at the white-clothed researchers who were constantly fiddling with his body, but deep in his eyes, there was a deep hatred. In the few hours they were detained, this group of perverted lunatics kept cutting and studying his body with scalpels. On the other hand, Blood from unknown sources mixed with energy liquid was constantly transported into his body through machines to maintain his vitality. Watching his intestines, internal organs, being dug out, they didn't even give him anesthesia. The pain of irritation tortured Feng Rong all the time. The researchers looked at Feng Rong as if he was looking at a rare treasure. It's perfect, even his will is so firm. You know, I didn't give him a drop of anesthetic in these 3 hours. One of the men in a white coat spoke excitedly. I have said it before, animal-type ability users are the most suitable experimental subjects. Look at how tenacious the vitality of this mythical beast species is. I really don't know how strong the body of Zhang Chen, who is known as the first genius of Qingcheng and the strongest animal-type fish-fruit mythical beast species Qinglong ability user in history, is. I really want to dissect him. President, I have news. Hao Niubi, the director of the supervisory department, is about to leave for the monster defense line tomorrow. Ji Yu Qingying passed the latest information to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. I've been waiting for so many days, I'm so depressed, I finally caught him. Let everything go according to plan. Let Zhang Wei transform into my appearance and continue to monitor and track the doctors at the Sacred Heart Hospital. The army division probably didn't expect that the murderer who waited for death had been taken away by the Black Heart Society. Keep this a secret and tell Lu Hua and Cheng Dongqing to keep their mouths shut. The news will rot in my stomach. Continue to investigate with the army division in a perfunctory manner. In addition, put aside the matter of the Black Heart Society for now. All members should pay attention to safety. When I have time, I will settle the accounts. Since listening to Cheng Dongqing's description that night, the boy can control blood and is a rare fantasy beast vampire form ability user. His intuition tells him that this boy is definitely related to the murder case at the Sacred Heart Hospital. As expected, after a careful interrogation of Lu Hua, coupled with Ji Yu Qingying's investigation, the boy's name was Feng Rong, and his sister Feng Qian happened to die in Sacred Heart Hospital a few days ago. Even more coincidentally, his sister was just an ordinary person implicated when Zhang Chen killed the former leader of Liu He gang. What a miserable guy. Picking up the information on the table, Feng Rong's photo suddenly appeared on the paper. Zhang Chen frowned. Isn't this the boy he met when he visited his father that day? He looks familiar. It turns out to be that innocent and righteous guy. Interesting. He has the top fruit. His parents died when he was young. Now his sister died tragically and he was captured for biological experiments and suffered inhumane torture. This is the treatment of the protagonist. If he can survive, what kind of person will he become? How to create a hero or a devil? Strong talent, illustrated family background, endless opportunities, none of them. Just give him a bad life. Qingcheng, a border fortress. The huge airship that covered the sky and the sun was rampant in the sky. On the flat road on the left, travelers coming and going were either hurriedly dragging their luggage, or laughing and playing with their children in the large reception hall near the apron waiting for the arrival of the airship. These were people who wanted to take the airship to other cities. It was too dangerous for the wild monsters on the ground in this world. There were few monsters flying in the sky, and the air route was the safest route between cities. Especially with the popularity of seastone, most airships were mixed with seastone fragments at the bottom. The disgusting smell of seastone could drive away most monsters, and even travel through the fog, which could effectively reduce the sense of existence and avoid being targeted by strange things. On the other right road where Zhang Chen was walking, people were also in a hurry. At the end of the right road stood a pass, and one of the entrances out of the city was here. There were various machine gun bunkers nearby, and the electrified barbed wire surrounded them. Army personnel with live ammunition kept patrolling back and forth. On the road, there were warriors everywhere wearing various costumes, carrying swords, sniper rifles, and grenades on their waists. Cold weapons and hot weapons complement each other. Zhang Chen, who was wearing a black robe to cover his burly body, had a hideous evil ghost mask on his face, a misty hat on his head, and a cold breath that kept strangers away. The terrifying sense of oppression made people along the way avoid him involuntarily. Who is this person? He is so pretentious. Why do I feel like kneeling down and worshipping him for no reason? Kid, you are asking for your life. You don't know that disaster comes from your mouth. You are about to leave the city, and there is no way out of the city. In the middle of the road, an off-road vehicle with weapons on its body after modification sped past, rolling up a cloud of dust. The driver stuck his head out and said, "Get out of the way. I am not responsible for killing people." In the middle of the road, whether it was a weathered old hunter or a fledgling warrior, they all avoided him. A young warrior with a childish face was a student who sneaked out to see the world outside the city. He was unable to react for a moment when he saw the steel giant beast coming. He was about to hit it. At the critical moment, Zhang Chen kicked a stone with his foot. The stone made a sharp sound and hit the boy and took him away directly. In a split second, the huge wheel passed in front of the boy. The fierce driver yelled at the boy from the window, "Blind. You want to die," and then drove away. The boy's thigh was pierced by a stone, and he was bleeding and wailing in pain. His companions came forward and looked at the boy helplessly, with cute and innocent eyes, and bandaged him in a hurry. Blood. This group of kids who may not even be 18 years old dared to venture out of the city together. Zhang Chen just glanced at them casually, shook his head and continued to move forward. "Ah, so fierce. That kick is so handsome. Is this the world of adults? It's so cool." Seeing Zhang Chen's rough way of saving people, the little friends who wanted to thank him gave up. Although they felt the brutal and fierce atmosphere outside the city before leaving the city, this did not stop these children from going out of the city to explore. They picked up the boy and hurried to the pass, and soon passed Zhang Chen. The injured boy shouted, "I won't go, let me go home." "Woo!" The boys and girls shouted while running, "Don't worry. We won't abandon any companions." The guard at the pass stopped the boys with an impatient look on his face. "Get lost. This is not a place for children." "Uncle, we are here to leave the city." "Who are you calling uncle? Leaving the city. Do you have an ID card? Where does your family live? Which school do you go to? What is your parents' contact number? No, if you don't have one, stay away. Get lost." The group of boys and girls looked at each other, blinking their big eyes, somewhat at a loss, with clear and simple stupidity in their eyes. "Uncle, I haven't heard of these things to leave the city. You can go out whenever you want." The guard was full of black lines on his head. Although he was often exposed to the sun, he was only 25 or 26 years old. "Don't talk nonsense. If you don't have it, you can't get out." Just then, Zhang Chen, who was pacing over, also came over. "Hey, you little brats are blocking my way." Zhang Chen's deep voice echoed, and the guards and the group of teenagers felt a chill on their backs. The group of teenagers silently made way and stepped aside. Just as Zhang Chen was about to pass by, a girl's timid voice rang out. "That, uncle, thank you for saving Ahao. You are a very nice person. This is for you." After saying that, a girl with bright eyes, white teeth and collagen on her face took out a box of Bear biscuits from her backpack and handed it to Zhang Chen carefully. Zhang Chen's tall figure turned his head and looked at them without saying a word. They swallowed their saliva and sweat oozed from their heads. The guard stepped forward and said, "That, sir, you are just a group of children. There is no need to be so knowledgeable." Zhang Chen turned his head and ignored them. He walked through the pass and left. The little girl looked a little disappointed when she saw Zhang Chen leave directly. "Hey, guard, why don't you go ask him for his ID card?" "Yes, and his parents' phone number and home address." The guard, with a frown on his face, shouted, "Stop talking nonsense, get out of here, you hear me? Your companion is bleeding to the crotch, can you send him to the hospital first?" In the wilderness, dozens of modified off-road vehicles were driving along the abandoned and dilapidated road. There was a ferocious red wolf head pattern tattooed on the body of each vehicle. "Come on, Admiral Duan, Hao, would like to offer you a drink." "I'll drink first, you can do whatever you want." In one of the RVs, Hao Niubi, the director of the supervision office, was drinking and having fun with the admiral of the Blood Wolf group and a group of senior cadres, toasting and chatting happily. "Xiao Niu, you can drink a lot." Sitting in the main seat was a burly man with dark skin, lush hair, and a rare cheerful look. He was the leader of the Blood Wolf group, the Blood Wolf Admiral, Duan Lang. "I don't deserve it, I don't deserve it, how can I compare my drinking capacity with yours?" "Woo ha ha ha." Duan Lang laughed heartily, but suddenly his expression became gloomy, and he looked straight at Hao Niu Bai. Hao Niubai's heart skipped a beat. Xiao Niu. Is the plan you mentioned really useful? Putting down the wine glass, Hao Niubai pretended to be calm and said, "Don't worry, Admiral. My plan to go out to support the monster defense line has long been secretly leaked to the family of a student union member under Qinglong Zhongchen. With Zhongchen's vengeful character, he will definitely go out of the city to attack and kill us." Humph, but this is a little different from the news I got. Zhongchen has been busy with the army branch recently to catch the serial murderer of the Sacred Heart Hospital. Besides, the travel plan of a senior executive of the supervisory department can actually be obtained by an organization playing house in a school. Anyone would be suspicious. Duan Lang shook the wine glass with a playful look. "Don't worry, Admiral, I think Zhongchen is still preparing. After several days of investigation, my Hao family found that Zhongchen is stubborn and self-righteous. He is arrogant and conceited. Even if he doesn't know whether my travel plan is true or not, he dares to go." Hao Niubai wiped the sweat from his head and breathed a sigh of relief. It is said that serving the emperor is like serving a tiger. This is really true. This Admiral Duan is really fickle and unpredictable. He was still chatting and laughing in the last second, and his expression was gloomy in the next second. Fortunately, I have the Hao family as a backer. HMPH, it's better to be like this. Do you think I can't see the little tricks of your Hao family? It's nothing more than driving the tiger to eat the wolf. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the whole carriage became cold. The cadres of the Blood Wolf group looked at Hao Niubai with unfriendly eyes, as if they were going to tear him apart in the next moment. Hearing this, Hao Niubai's expression froze. He wanted to rush to Hao Gang and ask, "I treat you as my big brother. You kicked me into the ditch, didn't you? You want me to do such a dangerous job?" "Ahem, that's not true, Admiral. Our Hao family and your Blood Wolf group have always had a good relationship. As the saying goes, we prosper together and we suffer together. Now that Zhongchen is bullying us, and this man is very powerful and talented. If he doesn't die, won't our two families be able to sleep and eat in the future?" Hao Niubai started his witty remarks with a strong desire to survive. "Admiral, the stupidest thing about Zhongchen now is that he doesn't know that the power and influence of a place is actually in the hands of a small group of people like us. Qingcheng is big, but our circle is small. In this Qingcheng with a population of hundreds of thousands, there are perhaps only a few hundred people who are truly powerful. They are the few hundred of us, people like me who hold important positions, and people like you who are as martial as you. The powerful and well-known merchants like the Bai Family Chamber of Commerce. It is us who cover all aspects of Qingcheng's operation. In fact, we have already formed a social network of acquaintances with each other. Even if we are not familiar with each other, we can get to know each other's details in a short time through various channels. If we are in this network, if we encounter something, we need to find anyone in this network. We can always get in touch with them if we think of a way, just like our Hao family wants to find you. It can be said that every move of Qingcheng is controlled by us. And now, Zhongchen, who is out of our existence, stirs up trouble and threatens our interests. Are you willing to accept it?" Quote. After speaking his point of view in one breath, Hao Niubai took a deep breath and waited for Duan Lang's fateful judgment. "Woo-ha-ha-ha, well said. A young boy wants to be superior to us. He is courting death. Xiao Niu, come on, let's continue drinking. I have always regarded you as my good rice." Woo-ha-ha-ha. Duan Lang and his men laughed wantonly. The sky gradually darkened. The driver in charge of leading the way at the front of the convoy rubbed his eyes and looked out the window at the gloomy weather and the rising cold wind. From time to time, a trace of thunder flashed in the sky. In just a blink of an eye, heavy rain roared, and down. What a bad weather, the Death Valley is ahead. Tisk, I really can't understand what the bosses are thinking. They actually plan to run to the Death Valley in advance to ambush someone. It's raining so hard, and we will probably have to set up tents later. It's really the leader's words that make the employees tired. It's time to suffer again. Roll up the windows to prevent rain from pouring back. Death Valley has a huge temperature difference between day and night, and the terrain is complicated. When the wind is strong, it can even blow up fist-sized stones. It is also rich in mineral radiation, which will seriously interfere with communication equipment. The area is often struck by lightning, and even a large group of demon beasts and wasteland wolves roam in the depths of Death Valley. We just drove to the vicinity of Death Valley, why is it thundering? It's really unlucky. The driver muttered. Boom! A thunder in the sky illuminated the dim road ahead. What is that? The moment he closed the window, the driver saw a black shadow standing not far from the road ahead. With a burst of strong light from the lightning, the driver saw clearly in an instant that in the middle of the road ahead, there was a terrifying monster wearing a bamboo hat and a black robe, with a figure nearly 8 meters tall. Under the heavy rain, his face was like a demon. 2 scarlet streams of light were blooming in his eyes. The rain did not get close to him within a foot of his body. What kind of monster is that? Report to the captain of the 13th Division. I am driver number 001, and there is an unknown monster shadow in front of me. Run over it. A cold voice sounded from the other end of the intercom. Yes. The driver who received the order held back the fear in his heart, stepped on the accelerator hard, and the modified steel behemoth roared and rushed towards the shadow fiercely. Interesting. Zhang Chen smiled slightly, bowed his right hand and clenched his fist to accumulate power, and the black and black-armed color domineering covered it, and the veins of the half-beast's thick arms burst out. He smashed the front of the oncoming car fiercely. Fist bone, galaxy impact. The steel behemoth and the humanoid beast collided fiercely. The steel-like vehicle could not move forward, and the front of the car was like a fragile piece of paper that kept folding under the pressure of inertia. The driver had already been crushed to death at the moment of the collision. The rear of the car jumped high into the air. Before everyone in the car could react, they were immersed in the violent impact and staggered. The fist force hit, and the vehicle disintegrated and exploded. The raging flames shot up into the sky, and the wreckage and broken arms were scattered everywhere. The vehicles behind them braked one after another. In the RV in the middle, the dishes on the wine table were scattered all over the floor. What's going on? Duan Lang shouted. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The whole convoy was in chaos, and hundreds of fully armed Blood Wolf Corps members drew their weapons and guns to be on guard. Hua Ying, the captain of the 13th Squad responsible for the convoy's guard, got off the car with a gloomy face and spit out the cigar in his mouth. Bad luck. This happened when it was his turn to be on guard, which really annoyed Hua Ying. Looking at the black shadow monster in front, what are you doing? Come on, all of you. Humph. Seeing that the black shadow was covered tightly, Hua Ying snorted coldly, pretending to be a ghost, hiding his head and showing his tail. The ordinary gang members of the Blood Wolf Corps who received the order immediately opened the safety, raised their automatic rifles and launched a wave of long-range output at Zhang Chen. The powerful recoil made their shoulders tremble constantly. The hot flames sprayed countless stray bullets, and the bullets mixed with the heavy rain were like a death curtain covering the sky and the sun. Everyone grinned. Such a big target must be a sitting duck. Zhang Chen, who had his observation hockey fully activated, watched the fast-moving bullets slow down countless times in his eyes like a turtle's speed. Gently turning his head to avoid a bullet that was heading for his neck, Zhang Chen admired with interest the trail left in the air after the bullet circled. It was pretty. As the fight went on, the Blood Wolf group could no longer laugh. The tall black shadow monster's eyes were full of scarlet light. Then, as if it had predicted the future, it approached them step by step in the dense rain of bullets with ease. Some gang members swallowed their saliva, suppressed the fear that was gradually growing in their hearts, and poured bullets crazily, hoping that the monster could be repelled. A bunch of trash. Hua Ying, the captain of the 13th Division, grabbed the RPG rocket launcher in the hands of the guard beside him, raised his hand and fired at the black shadow. Bullets don't work. Let me see if this shell works. The guard on the side was shocked. Captain, that monster is too close. If we use a rocket launcher, it will hurt our brothers. What he received was a slap from Hua Ying. Are you teaching me how to do things? But the rocket that was shot at the black shadow monster was actually caught by the monster, and then it turned around and was thrown back to the direction of the convoy. No, run. The Blood Wolf group members in the front row were scared by the incoming rockets and ran away. Unfortunately, human legs can't run faster than rockets. The Blood Wolf group members who were slightly weaker and had poor legs and feet were unfortunately swallowed up by the howitzer fired by the rocket launcher. Dazzling flames and piercing roars. Zhang Chen flashed into the crowd like a ghost. The bloody mace was swung violently. In an instant, the earth collapsed and corpses were everywhere. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. At this time, the Blood Wolf Group's admiral and a group of high-ranking officials, as well as Hao Niubai and others, also rushed over from the rear. Admiral Duan Lang looked at the black monster that was constantly slaughtering ordinary members of the Blood Wolf Group, and narrowed his eyes. Hua Ying, what's going on? Admiral, this monster is of unknown origin and is blocking the way forward for our convoy. Judging from its movements, it has a sense of advance and retreat. It must have been premeditated. Hua Ying reported everything to Duan Lang. That is specifically targeting our Blood Wolf Group. Who of you is willing to step forward and test this person? Duan Lang shouted, looking at everyone with a covetous look. Admiral, I think this person is just some brute force. There is no need to worry, I am willing to take his head. The deputy captain of the 13th Division, Pan Long, stepped forward to ask for orders. As the animal-type bird fruit spike-tailed swift form ability user, he has a perverted extreme speed. The spike-tailed swift is known as the fastest flying animal in nature. He, who thinks he is extremely fast, likes to play with those stupid people who think they have brute force. Okay, Pan Long, I toast you a glass. I wish you a victory. Duan Lang raised the wine glass in his hand and filled it for him personally. Thank you, Admiral. Leave the wine here, wait for me to cut off this man's head, and then drink it. After saying that, Pan Long glanced at Hua Ying with a provocative look. The captain of the 13th squad must be mine. Okay, return triumphantly, I will definitely record your merit. Upon hearing this, Hua Ying's face suddenly darkened, looking at the black shadow in the distance with hatred. When can't he attack? Why did he choose me to be on duty? Pan Long took a mountain axe from his subordinate, his whole body changed, and the wings behind him spread out to become a monster with a bird's head and a human body, and soared into the sky in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, he arrived above Zhang Chen. HMPH, who are you, thug? Tell me your name. I, Pan, will not kill an unknown person. Pan Long said arrogantly, holding a heavy axe in his arms. Dead man, you don't need to know my name. The monster Zhang Chen with scarlet eyes spoke indifferently. You are even more pretentious than me. Pan Long was angry, and his wings fluttered. His figure suddenly turned into a trail of afterimages circling around Zhang Chen. How shameless. Did you see it? Did you see the extreme speed I have? There is nothing invincible in martial arts, only speed can't break it. I am the natural nemesis of you clumsy big guys. You will pay for your words. I will cut off your flesh piece by piece. Pan Long's ghostly voice kept coming from all directions. Zhang Chen held the mace and stood still, sneering, stupid, since you are pursuing extreme speed, why do you use heavy weapons like the mountain axe? What do you know? Speed is power. With my extreme speed and the sharp heavy weapon of the mountain axe, I am the perfect combination of power and speed. I will have no weaknesses. Hearing Zhang Chen's ridicule, Pan Long was furious. Non-descriptive things. Zhang Chen whispered, comprehensive means mediocrity, of course, he is an exception. You're looking for death. Pan Long flew to an infinite height in anger, holding the axe in both hands, and turned into a stream of light, swinging a fierce slash from top to bottom with unmatched potential energy. The speed of the fruit ability was brought to the extreme by Pan Long. He changed his mind, he wanted to kill the rat who dared to mock him with one blow. The swift black shadow turned into a swift phantom, and the heavy axe emitted sparks in the fierce friction with the air. Swift mountain slash. That is the famous skill of Lord Pan Long. I didn't expect to have the honor to see it today. Great, that monster killed so many of our brothers, and it's finally going to die. Countless ordinary gang members of the Blood Wolf group cried bitterly, many of their brothers died at the hands of Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen under the mask revealed a bloodthirsty edge, his whole body aura condensed, and the black robe moved without wind. The rain around him seemed to have been paused. The ground cracked under his feet. It made a creaking sound as he couldn't bear the weight. Black air covered his whole body. The golden red light in his eyes was shining brightly, which was the external manifestation of Zhang Chen's fruit power and domineering aura being pushed to the extreme. Zhang Chen held the 8 fast rings in both hands and made a brutal attack on the swift phantom from bottom to top. The 8 fast rings made a series of sonic booms when they were swung. Full power. Great mighty thunder Bagua. The heavy axe and the mace slammed violently. The ground cracked and shattered. The terrifying air wave rolled back. The people who were closer were blown by the strong wind and couldn't open their eyes at all. The dazzling shock wave rushed straight into the sky, and even the rainstorm was temporarily stopped to avoid its edge. How is it? Master Pan Long should have won, right? Some gang members swallowed their saliva. Sorry, your peerless General Pan Long seems to have only a head left. In the center of the explosion, a black-robed monster with a mace in his right hand walked out of the fire, and in his left hand, he was holding a hideous head. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.